Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio, Chapter 51. Australia, Kin Hao and Hong's battle ultimately ended in a draw. The clash between their domains meant neither could completely suppress the other. Of course, this was also the result of Kin Hao only releasing the first layer of his wood domain. After their battle, the two returned to the elite training camp's tea room. The things you asked for will be delivered shortly. Since you don't want to serve as an inspector so early, that's fine too. Hong said while sipping tea. Kin Hao's rise made him feel much more relaxed. Ever since he acquired information about the universe, Hong had been in a constant state of tension. Earth was too fragile, vulnerable to powerful beings. Although he didn't understand the true state of the universe, he didn't hesitate to speculate with the worst possible mindset. Even before the Great Nirvana, there was the Dark Forest Law. The real universe would be even more complex. Now, with Kin Hao's growth, his strength and talent would rapidly increase in a short period. Furthermore, he brought a complete legacy, which provided a new layer of protection for Earth. About 10 minutes later, a flying saucer landed outside the elite training camp. Your things have arrived. Are you planning to return to Jiangnan Base City next, or do you have other arrangements? I'll go to the Australia continent. I often hear about life and death adventures at the elite training camp. I'll go see one this time. Kin Hao said casually, the dangerous Australia continent seeming like a stroll in the park to him. All right. If you have any problems, contact Inspector Wang directly. I'll have them cooperate with you. Hong didn't say anything about Kin Hao's plans. Boarding the flying saucer, Kin Hao looked around, filled with a sense of futuristic technology. Ancient One, accept control. Accepted. Target Australia continent, proceed. As soon as Kin Hao finished speaking, the flying saucer instantly reached its maximum speed, heading towards Australia. Although it wouldn't take too long for him to travel to the Australia continent at his own speed, the comfort level was completely different. Upon entering the Australia continent, Kin Hao stepped directly out of the flying saucer and onto the land. For Kin Hao now, his domain had reached the 9th layer, and the law fluctuations were very clear, but he always couldn't grasp them. Regarding this situation, Ancient One had told Kin Hao that it was largely due to factors like comprehension, serendipity, and inspiration. One must know that Kin Hao's clone, with 1,000 times the genetic factor, had an explosive affinity for laws, yet still hadn't fully grasped the law fluctuations. It could only be said that laws were too distant for planetary-level individuals. If he were to step into the astral rank, there would be no obstacles to comprehending laws whatsoever. However, Kin Hao was not ready to immediately step into the astral rank. Although in the swallowed star world, as long as one's comprehension was sufficient, one could rapidly grow through a nutrient cabin. Nevertheless, Kin Hao believed that every stage had its meaning, and every step of growth was crucial for the future. Although this was a conclusion drawn from reading thousands of novels, Kin Hao was willing to try it. After all, it was just a bit slower. Strolling on the Australia continent, Kin Hao was like when he graduated from the elite training camp, experiencing everything around him and the changes in the world through his walk. With a domain, Kin Hao felt the world's changes even more clearly. This trip to the Australia continent was just a whim for Kin Hao. On one hand, he had been cooped up in one place for too long and wanted to get out and walk around. On the other hand, he also wanted to check on the status of Mist Island and Luo Feng's transformation. I wonder where Mist Island is exactly, and I wonder what Babata will choose to do after detecting me. For several consecutive days, Kin Hao traveled back and forth between Australia and home. With the flying saucer, travel was very simple, taking only a dozen minutes to arrive, without delaying time with his family. Luo Feng's battle with Vulture and Scorpion should be in the next few days. Kin Hao didn't have a clear understanding of the exact timing. In the novel, they almost met shortly after entering Australia. However, Australia is so vast, it's too difficult to find someone in reality, and even if they met, it would take time. Kin Hao was not anxious, stepping on the earth, feeling every subtle sensation transmitted from the ground with each step, feeling the surrounding trees, water flow. Gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, the five elements, represent the five common material forms and their movements and changes in nature. These five material forms are interconnected and influence each other, forming the basis of the world. Among the 10 great laws, the five elements exist as a lower law of space, relying on space for their existence. Similarly, the five elements should also be a part of space. The theory of the five elements has existed in ancient China for a long time. It is a basic category of ancient Chinese thought and also represents the ancient sages' understanding of the world. One must know that the era these sages lived in did not have cultivation conditions, yet they relied on their great wisdom to comprehend heaven and earth. At the same time, their comprehension of mind nature is unique in the universe. Hong, relying on the ninth grade bloodline of earthlings, became a true god, and Thunder God became a universe lord. The blessing of mind nature was key. Stepping on the Australia continent, Qin Hao gradually fell into comprehension, his understanding of the five elements continuously becoming more thorough. His five elements domain, which had already integrated a bit, showed more points of convergence, and the five elements domain was unconsciously released. The five great domains formed a fusion point at Qin Hao's location, constantly exchanging with each other. Metal generates water, water generates wood, wood generates fire, fire generates earth, and earth generates metal, forming a complete closed loop. Although not completely fused, the two adjacent domains showed points of intersection. With this point, the fusion of the five elements domain will continue, and the complete fusion of the five elements comprehension can be considered to have truly begun its first step. Although it's still just a domain, it's a good start. Qin Hao was very happy about the changes in his domain. The fusion of laws was still too distant for him. Even comprehending laws, the difficulty of fusion far exceeded imagination. From the undying ones who walked the path of fusion laws in Swallowed Star, one can see that the difficulty of fusion laws is no lower than cultivating space and time simultaneously. I didn't expect such an unexpected gain. Qin Hao retracted his five elements domain, and a new domain was released. As the new domain appeared, the surrounding space began to fluctuate, as if it were confined, and even the speed at which dust fell slowed down considerably. Space domain. Following the five elements domain, Qin Hao, under the comprehension of the five elements domain, mastered the space domain. The five elements laws are a lower law of the space law. Similarly, the comprehension of lower laws will further promote the domain of the higher laws. The gains from this trip to Australia are considerable. Indeed, cultivation cannot be done in isolation. Boom! As soon as Qin Hao retracted his space domain, a huge crashing sound came from afar. Chapter 52, Kirishima Chapter 52. Mist Island on the Australian continent, Qin Hao's figure moved rapidly, leaving streaks of afterimages in his wake. In a flash, he had already arrived at a nearby mountain. Standing on the mountaintop, Qin Hao looked towards the source of the sound. Two parties were engaged in a fierce battle. Dozens of martial artists were besieging a young man, who was Luo Feng. It seems I still made it. Qin Hao observed Luo Feng continuously shooting flying daggers, taking the lives of the opposing martial artists. Qin Hao chose not to intervene in the battle. Although Lai Yao and the others were formidable and numerous, the pressure they could exert on Luo Feng was limited. Especially, judging from Luo Feng's control over his flying daggers, he had already gained some insight into the Psyker Master 216 forms, improving significantly in a short time. A powerful Psyker Master, especially one at the high-level War God level, would not be easily contained. Even if he couldn't win, it would be very simple for Luo Feng to escape. Flying through the air, Psyker Master's abilities were beyond what ordinary martial artists could match. I didn't expect to meet an acquaintance. Qin Hao noticed one of the people besieging Luo Feng and was slightly surprised. This person was Yanagawa Masami, with whom Qin Hao had previously fought at the Little Japan base. After Yanagawa Masami disappeared that time, Qin Hao had mentioned him to Shijiang, and China had also paid attention to this person. However, he seemed to have vanished without a trace, and there had been no news of him. Qin Hao hadn't expected him to appear here and participate in the siege of Luo Feng. Yet, in the original story, Lai Yao's reinforcements shouldn't have included this person. The battle progressed very quickly, with neither side holding back. Lai Yao, in particular, attacked with all his might every time. The hatred for his son's death had driven him mad. Besides Lai Yao, Yanagawa Mesami and another Little Japan beside him were also fighting with great effort, continuously attacking Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng was not to be trifled with. After several exchanges, Luo Feng's flying daggers shot out rapidly, piercing the head of the Little Japan. Having achieved a victory, Luo Feng, after a few more clashes, soared into the sky and flew towards the mountain range not far away. Following this, a chase ensued. Luo Feng continuously evaded in the mountain range. Even when Lai Yao used a laser cannon, it had no effect and was even destroyed by Luo Feng. Throughout the entire process, Qin Hao watched from a distance, hidden among the flora/vegetation spirits. With the boost from the wood domain, outsiders didn't even notice his presence. It seems we're almost at Mist Island. As Luo Feng continuously changed his direction of evasion, Qin Hao gradually sensed the difference in his surroundings. The strong life aura in the distance was becoming clearer. The wood domain's perception of life aura made Qin Hao feel the uniqueness of that area. Since we're here, let's go take a look. The spirits of flora on Mist Island were no longer useful to Qin Hao, but they were still beneficial to his family. The items exchanged from Hong were mostly for nourishing the body, with very limited effects on strength improvement. The willow wood heart on Mist Island, which was Luo Feng's early-stage power-up, was exactly what Qin Hao needed now. It could help his family improve their strength below the planetary level, and once their strength allowed, they could use Muya Crystal to directly break through to the planetary level. Is this Mist Island? Standing before an island shrouded in mist, Qin Hao felt the rich life force emanating in scattered points from within the island. He confirmed that this was Mist Island, the site of Luo Feng's next major opportunity, and his most important early-stage opportunity. Passing through the mist, Qin Hao quickly landed on the island. Although some monsters attacked during this time, they were directly scared away by a single glance from Qin Hao. Monsters are often more acutely aware of danger than humans and react more directly when facing a powerful being. After entering Mist Island, Qin Hao did not act immediately. A good show awaited him. These spirits of flora wouldn't run away. The next part of the story would be Luo Feng's shining moment. After obtaining the willow wood heart, his martial artist strength would directly reach high-level War God, and his Psyker Master abilities would peak at high-level War God, making him invincible below the planetary level. With the special abilities of a Psyker Master, he could even contend with a planetary-level expert. However, it would only be a contention. Hall Master, what is it? Are you still on the Australian continent? Yes. Luo Feng has discovered a large number of spirits of flora on the Australian continent. This matter is entrusted to you. All right. After their brief conversation ended, Qin Hao hadn't expected that he would still have to handle this matter himself. However, he didn't necessarily have to act immediately. He could still watch the show. The main thing was to ensure that these spirits of flora didn't fall into the hands of others. Qin Hao continued his spectating. On Mist Island, Luo Feng and Lai Yao had met again. Their situations were now completely different. Lai Yao and the others were directly suppressed by Luo Feng. However, Qin Hao's leisurely viewing state didn't last too long. A flash of fire rapidly approached Luo Feng from a distance, and the battle, which Luo Feng had been dominating, changed. A planetary-level expert versus an invincible god of war, a difference of one line, yet an insurmountable one. Luo Feng's speed advantage as a Psyker Master kept him undefeated. When the two once again reached 300 meters above Mist Island, Qin Hao knew it was time for him to act. Stepping out from the shadows, he swiftly arrived not far in front of Luo Feng. Qin Hao. Seeing Qin Hao suspended in the air before him, Luo Feng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Leave the rest to me. Qin Hao said, then looked at Councilman Fal and Lai Yao and the others nearby. All spirits of flora here were discovered by Luo Feng of my Dojo of Limits and belong to my Dojo of Limits. Unrelated personnel, retreat immediately, Qin Hao announced loudly, his tone calm yet carrying an undeniable authority that brooked no argument. Who are you? We discovered this place first. Councilman Fal stood before Qin Hao and demanded sharply. In his opinion, although Qin Hao was a beyond war god level expert, he was so young that his combat power was merely at the bottom tier of beyond war god level. He was confident he could defeat Qin Hao. His only concern was the Dojo of Limits behind him. After all, with the world's #1 expert at its helm, the deployment of a beyond war god level expert now might have already alerted Qin Hao of the Dojo of Limits. Do you have any objections to our Dojo of Limits decision? Qin Hao said lightly. HMPH, this place isn't under your Dojo of Limits jurisdiction. Why should it belong to you? Councilman Fal said stubbornly, if you have the ability, let everyone compete. Whoever gets it, it belongs to them. Hearing Councilman Fal's words, Qin Hao understood what he was thinking. He still saw Qin Hao as young and of limited strength, someone he could definitely outcompete. Qin Hao didn't want to waste too much time. His gene primary energy was released, and emerald green energy transformed into scattered points of light, forming green threads that shot straight towards various locations on Mist Island. The next moment, the threads rapidly retracted, with each thread's end connected to a plant. All right, I've collected everything. The rest is for you. Chapter 53, Ancient Training with his wood domain at the 9th level and his touch on the law of wood, Qin Hao's perception of the spirits of flora was exceptionally keen. It was precisely this keen sense that allowed him to clearly feel the presence of the spirits of flora when he was still 10 kilometers away from Mist Island. Now, harvesting these essences of vegetation was even simpler for him. You. Councillor Fair looked at the essences of vegetation floating around Qin Hao, his eyes filled with rage. Though he couldn't fully comprehend such methods, he knew that the essences of vegetation on Mist Island had been completely harvested. Kid, leave the essences of vegetation behind, or even the Dojo of Limits won't be able to protect you. With such a large amount of essences of vegetation, Fair's heart was already somewhat frantic. These essences of vegetation were an extremely vast resource in any power. If he could obtain so many essences of vegetation, he might be able to advance further. After reaching the planetary level, it was too difficult to make further progress, and absorbing cosmic energy was too slow. With the augmentation of the essences of vegetation, even if the effect was slightly weaker, the vast quantity could completely compensate. Just with you. Qin Hao still spoke lightly. On this earth, there was almost nothing that could pose a threat to him. Although he didn't want to accept the position of inspectors of the Dojo of Limits in the short term, mostly because he didn't want to be tied to one power, Qin Hao also wasn't prepared to completely conceal his strength. Now was the time to establish his prestige. Upon hearing Qin Hao's reply, Fair's face turned red, and flames surged around him as he attacked Qin Hao. Looking at Fair's incoming attack, Qin Hao wasn't prepared to get entangled. The moment Fair was about to strike him, Qin Hao delivered a hand chop to Fair's body. Boom. Fair was directly thrown back by this hand chop, smashing into the ground and creating a deep pit. When the surrounding smoke and dust dissipated, Fair's figure was revealed in the center of the pit, no longer possessing his earlier vigor. The clothes on the dignified counselor's body were tattered, and there were wounds on his body, deep enough to expose bone. His aura was extremely chaotic, as if he could lose his life at any moment. The miserable state shocked Luo Feng and the others beside him. They were shocked by Fair's crushing defeat, and equally shocked by Qin Hao's power. Is this really someone who just became a transcendent god of war? Everyone thought in their hearts. As a genius of the elite training camp, graduating with high-level war god strength in half a year, Qin Hao had extremely high renown among various powers. It was precisely because they knew this that such a leap in strength was so shocking. You want me to help you deal with it? Ignoring Fair, Qin Hao looked at Luo Feng and asked. He glanced at Lai Yao and the others nearby, his meaning quite clear. I'll handle it myself, Luo Feng said. Lai Yao no longer posed any threat to him. That works too. For now, I'll let them off. Once your strength improves a bit more, not even the Black God suit will be able to protect him, Qin Hao said, then shot out a stream of genetic energy. However, there's no need to keep this trash. The genetic energy directly pierced through Yanagawa Masami's head, who was standing behind Lai Yao. The splattered blood landed on Lai Yao and the others, but none of them dared to dodge in the slightest. Instead, they felt a sense of relief, a feeling of having escaped death. Let's go. Back to the dojo. There's no need for your strength to remain in the elite training camp anymore, Qin Hao said to Luo Feng. At the same time, the flying saucer that had been parked in the distance quickly flew to their side and opened its hatch. Ancient One, Hongning Base City, Dojo of Limit's headquarters. Upon returning to Hongning Base City, Qin Hao kept a few essences of vegetation for his family's use, handed the rest of the essences of vegetation to Hong, and then went straight home. Ancient One. Inside the World Ring, Qin Hao looked at Ancient One in front of him, feeling a sense of doubt. After coming out of Source Star King's Divine Kingdom, Ancient One had only left an intelligent avatar to help him handle some matters, and hadn't appeared again. Today, however, he appeared and brought himself into the World Ring. Upon entering the World Ring, Qin Hao also felt the difference in this world. The cosmic energy was dense, and in front of him was a huge training ground. The ground was divided into multiple areas, and all of them were categorized by different attributes. Even the Enlightenment steel from the Divine Hall had been moved here. Qin Hao, although the Master has fallen, the legacy of Source Star needs to be continued. Starting tomorrow, I will guide you on behalf of the Master, Ancient One said. This world has been transformed by me, and your training will take place in this world. I have invested a large amount of cosmic crystals into this world. The concentration of cosmic primal energy has reached 50 times. Even without a nutrient cabin, you can quickly reach planetary level 9 stages. From now on, you will comprehend the Enlightenment steel every morning, train in the afternoon, and enter the trial tower for actual combat at night. After speaking, Ancient One began to guide Qin Hao in familiarizing himself with the entire training ground. The transformation of the environment and the division of the 5 elements attribute areas meant that every time Qin Hao entered an area, he could feel the rich attribute energy around him, and even his comprehension of the laws became much clearer. These areas will allow you to further familiarize yourself with your domain. Although your 5 elements domains have all reached the 9th level, they are still very rough in various aspects, Ancient One said. He was very clear about Qin Hao's current situation. Having witnessed Qin Hao's step-by-step improvements, he was very clear about Qin Hao's strengths and weaknesses. His affinity for the 5 elements laws was the best he had seen in countless years, but environmental limitations meant that his application of the domain and his deeper comprehension were somewhat lacking. However, these could be compensated for with a period of training. If he could step into the laws, then the path ahead would be even smoother. Ancient One, I'll be troubling you from now on. After surveying the entire training area, Qin Hao also felt the shallowness of his own knowledge. The level of civilization in this universe far exceeded his imagination. The creation of various environments and the tools for cultivation were things that Earth currently couldn't achieve. Seeing Ancient One's arrangements and training schedule, Qin Hao also felt the deficiencies in his previous cultivation. Furthermore, besides the training, the various video recordings left by Source Star King shocked Qin Hao even more. There were various instructional videos from Source Star and Source Star King's videos explaining his comprehension of the laws. As a champion among the strong, Source Star King's comprehension of the laws was definitely at the level of the 20th floor of the Heavenly Bridge. Source Star also had many Undying and World Lords, and their cultivation experiences and explanations, in Qin Hao's view, were the true wealth. This was also what Qin Hao currently lacked the most. As a transmigrator, he always felt special, but Qin Hao was more aware that the so-called special was just the feeling of an outsider looking at the people within the book. As he continuously integrated into this world, Qin Hao also understood that powerful strength was the fundamental thing. The road ahead was long, and only by walking it step by step could everything else be realized. Otherwise, it would all be wishful thinking. The next day, Qin Hao began his full-hearted cultivation. Apart from eating with his family at home, he spent the rest of his time in the world ring. Chapter 54, 1 year. Chapter 54, 1 year, faster, faster, even faster. Gu's stern voice kept reaching Qin Hao's ears. Qin Hao moved rapidly on the training ground, dodging attacks that could come from anywhere. Only after Gu's training began did Qin Hao realize what true arduous cultivation was. This arduous cultivation was not just physical exhaustion, but also an all-encompassing test. Gu's training was a comprehensive test and exercise of body, will, and all other aspects. When the training first started, Qin Hao was very unaccustomed to it. Qin Hao had experienced extreme physical training before, but this current state was something he had never encountered. Furthermore, Qin Hao also discovered that the effort Gu put into this training ground far exceeded his imagination. In addition to various trainings, the gravity covering all training grounds made Qin Hao suffer immensely. Just like the movement technique training currently underway, it wasn't just high gravity. Gu also constantly adjusted the gravity suddenly during training, catching Qin Hao off guard. Over the past year, Qin Hao continuously adapted to the cultivation environment and steadily enhanced his strength. Under Gu's guidance, Qin Hao had already broken through to planetary level 6, and his ninefold domain was gradually coming under complete control. If a year ago Qin Hao's comprehension of the domain was like a kindergartner who had just learned numbers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, then the current Qin Hao was on the verge of graduating high school. He could apply the domain with ease and had developed his own understanding. Qin Hao felt that, with his current understanding of the domain, he could even contend with some geniuses who comprehended laws. After all, Qin Hao not only possessed one domain, but 5 domains combined with the space domain, plus the fusion of the 5 elements laws, which allowed him to unleash strength far beyond imagination. Besides this, Qin Hao also made new breakthroughs in his force exertion, reaching a force exertion level of 20 times. Moreover, unlike his previous simple learning, Qin Hao had also completed his own comprehension of force exertion, creating his unique force exertion technique. Based on the force exertion techniques inherited from Source Star, combined with the comprehension of China's internal strength and the integration of the 5 elements, plus the summaries on physical cultivation from the Crimson Bright 9 Heavens diagram, Qin Hao initially created his own force exertion technique. Of course, the greatest improvement in strength came from Qin Hao's clone. The avatar, formed under the One Kai transforms into 3 Pure One's divine ability, absorbed the power of most of Kong Xuan's blood, inheriting energy and talent far beyond Qin Hao's main body. Within a year, with the blessing of a 1,000-fold gene, the clone finally touched upon the laws. However, even with the 1,000-fold gene blessing, it was still too difficult for a planetary level to grasp laws. Each moment of comprehension felt like bearing a great mountain. It could be clearly felt, but the speed of comprehension was extremely slow. Slowly walking out of the training ground, Qin Hao felt extremely exhausted. His powerful physical strength was completely depleted, and the gene primary energy within his body was almost dry. Immediately practice gene primary energy cultivation. The most exhausted time is when improvement is fastest, Gu said sternly. Gu was somewhat surprised by Qin Hao's dedication to such cultivation. In the major forces throughout the universe, after breaking through, everyone quickly advanced to the peak of their rank. Slowly absorbing cosmic energy was, in their view, a waste of time. However, Qin Hao's talent truly astonished him. In just 1 year, his mastery of the domain was even stronger than that of most world lords, and he had advanced 3 ranks. One must know that Qin Hao's ninefold gene meant 9 times the energy accumulation. Of course, many things also happened outside during this year. After Luo Feng graduated, he took over as the inspector of Jiangnan Base City. Subsequently, he entered the #9 ruins and has not yet emerged. The Dojo of Limits had intended to announce Luo Feng's death, but Qin Hao stopped them and informed Hong about the possibility of an inheritance in the #9 ruins. Now, your control over the domain is almost at the limit for the planetary level. Next, you need to cultivate with all your might, enhance your gene primary energy, reach planetary level 9, and prepare to break through to the astral rank. Still some way to go, the space domain is still lacking a bit, Qin Hao thought and said. The space domain is too difficult for the planetary level, even harder than a planetary level comprehending laws. Higher laws themselves are obscure and difficult to understand. Even World Lord rank individuals rarely encounter them. To comprehend higher laws, besides talent, opportunity is equally important. Gu was also very clear about the difficulty of comprehending the space domain. Even when his master, Source Star King, comprehended the space domain, he had already reached the astral rank and by chance came into contact with the space law. But even so, Source Star King's comprehension of the space law was very slow. His champion strength was more derived from the 5 elements laws. It's fine, no rush. There's still some time until the genius battle, so don't pursue cultivation speed too quickly. The genius battle is for astral rank cultivators. Breaking through to the universe rank too quickly would mean missing this opportunity. Furthermore, unlike others, Qin Hao also had a clone. As long as his foundation was solid, once the clone entered the astral rank, the speed of law comprehension would further accelerate, and there would be no problem in facing the genius battle. The 2 paths in Swallowed Star, one of laws and one of divine body, are not merely about realm advancement, but more about domains and a solid foundation. I'm not far from planetary level 7. Cosmic energy quickly integrated into his body. Qin Hao felt the almost dried-up planet within him being continuously nourished by new energy, emitting new vitality and rapidly improving. The 7th planet seemed to be on the verge of being born at any moment. Luo Feng should be coming out soon. It's been a year. After cultivating, Qin Hao walked out of his world ring and looked at Luo Feng's house next door. After Luo Feng returned to Jiangnan Base City, Qin Hao gave him many books explaining Psyker Master 216 forms, accelerating Luo Feng's growth. Therefore, Qin Hao had an estimate of when Luo Feng would emerge from the #9 ruins. In the original work, Luo Feng took about a year and 3 months. With these enhancements, coming out a few months earlier shouldn't be a problem. Brother, you're finally out. Come play with me. Qin Ying quickly came to Qin Hao's side after he appeared. Over the past year, Qin Ying had become very good at speaking, and her pronunciation was no longer like it was a year ago. Okay, Qin Hao readily agreed, holding Qin Ying as he walked out of the house. Walking on the streets of Minju community, people around greeted Qin Hao familiarly. Everyone in Minju community knew that Qin Hao had graduated from the elite training camp and was a god of war expert. However, after spending a long time together, they also knew Qin Hao's temperament and got along very harmoniously. HMPH, Lai Yao still hasn't given up, but Luo Feng will be out soon, so I'll let him handle it himself. Qin Hao left Minju community, felt the gazes around him, and after a quick glance, couldn't help but let out a cold snort in his heart. Chapter 55 returned to Kirishima. Time flew by, and Qin Hao's strength improved rapidly. When Luo Feng returned from Ruin No. 9, Qin Hao's strength officially broke through to planetary level 7, and his space domain application was further enhanced, reaching the 2nd stage. Shortly after Luo Feng's return, he officially broke through to planetary level as a Psyker Master, taking over as an inspector for the Dojo of Limits, becoming its 6th inspector. As for Lai Yao, he was dealt with soon after Luo Feng returned, marking an end to the 100 billion matter. With Luo Feng's rise, Qin Hao's brilliance gradually became hidden. However, for all major powers, even if Qin Hao's presence diminished, the attention on him remained. Any expert surpassing the god of war could influence the course of a battle. Qin Hao, an emperor-level monster, has appeared on Mist Island. Coming out of the World Ring, Qin Hao received a message from Hong. Recently, Qin Hao had spent most of his time cultivating in the World Ring, and most of his external communications were through messages. Babata is stirring things up. Luo Feng's strength is about to take off. Qin Hao knew that this Mist Island incident was orchestrated by Babata himself to attract Earth's powerhouses and to find a successor. Hall Master, I'll go immediately, Qin Hao replied after sending the message. Ancient One, go to Mist Island. After Qin Hao finished speaking, he walked out of his house, flying directly into the sky. The flying saucer hovering high above opened its hatch, and after Qin Hao entered, it quickly flew towards Mist Island. Upon reaching the vicinity of Mist Island, Qin Hao arrived at the dojo of Limits' encampment. Hong had already arrived, and Luo Feng was by his side. Hall Master Luo Feng, Qin Hao greeted them when he saw the two. You really can keep your cool, staying out of sight for so long, Hong said. For Qin Hao, their relationship was more like friends than superior and subordinate. Having risen step by step since the Great Nirvana, and previously being an assassin, Hong naturally understood Qin Hao's intentions very well, so he never pressed him further on his plans. Thunder God has also arrived. Let's go meet the monster king of Mist Island together, Hong said, looking at a purple spaceship rapidly flying towards them from the horizon. After the spaceship arrived not far from them, its hatch opened, and a bald man in a white robe stepped out. Brother Hong, these are the two geniuses from the Dojo of Limits, Qin Hao and Luo Feng, right? Thunder God came to Hong's side and said, how come all the geniuses are with your Dojo of Limits? Qin Hao, Luo Feng, would you consider joining Lady in Martial Hall? If you agree, you can directly become a Vice Hall Master, Thunder God said to Qin Hao and Luo Feng. Seeing Thunder God trying to recruit people in front of him, Hong's expression remained unfazed. Qin Hao also didn't take Thunder God's words to heart. Thunder God's personality was more like an innocent child, straightforward. Although he was recruiting, it was more like a joke. Hong and Thunder God had a brotherly relationship. As the two strongest individuals on Earth, they admired each other, and establishing martial halls was more for the sake of martial artist competition. All right, let's go deal with the Beast Emperor first. Hong said directly, taking the lead and flying towards Mist Island. The group quickly arrived above Mist Island. The mist on Mist Island had now disappeared, and the small island in the middle was also gone, leaving only a huge lake. Ever since that long vine life form on Mist Island was taken by me, the mist on Mist Island dissipated, Hong said. As for that island, in a recent great battle, the entire island was destroyed. At least the surface of the island was destroyed, and the deeper parts of the island were submerged in water. Luo Feng was unaware of this battle, but Qin Hao knew that it was during that battle that Hong subjugated the cloud-caressing vine. This Mist Island lake is very strange. It contains a large number of water domain monsters, many in quantity and very strong in power. And there's also a terrifying monster with 13 long tentacles among them. It's the third monster emperor we've discovered on Earth, Thunder God said, pointing to the lake. Everyone, attention. Our Dojo of Limits Hall Master Hong and Lady in Martial Hall Master Thunder God are about to kill the Beast Emperor. To prevent being affected, all non-council member powerhouses immediately retreat. Council member powerhouses are not to remain above the lake. After Hong, Thunder God, Qin Hao, and Luo Feng arrived above the lake, Ice Mountain, who had been waiting nearby, issued a notice to the various forces gathered around Mist Island. The appearance of the Beast Emperor attracted the attention of major global forces, who mobilized resources to establish bases around Mist Island. On one hand, it was to guard against the Beast Emperor's widespread destruction, and on the other, they wanted to further study the Beast Emperor. After all, there were only 3 Beast Emperor monsters, and the other 2 were in the ocean, which even Hong couldn't fully subdue. Now, this beast emperor in the lake might become the first one to be killed. Upon receiving the notice, the various major forces retreated, leaving only their responsible council member powerhouses gathered nearby, watching Qin Hao and the others by the lake. I'll go meet this beast emperor first. Before Hong made a move, Thunder God spoke first, and at the same time he leaped into the lake, his body sinking rapidly. The council members by the lake watched the screens on their communicators as the light dot representing Thunder God rapidly descended, gradually approaching the beast emperor hiding beneath the lake. Hall Master Thunder God has already begun his move. See, he has reached the bottom of the lake and entered the rock layer. The battle has begun. As Thunder God and the Beast Emperor clashed, the ground began to shake. Qin Hao looked at the screen on his communicator, and he already had an expectation for the outcome of the battle between Thunder God and the Beast Emperor. In the original work, Hong directly fought the Beast Emperor, and at that time, Hong mentioned a 30% chance of victory. After consulting Qin Hao, Hong shared the secret manual with Thunder God as well, and Thunder God also comprehended the space domain through it, achieving an all-around improvement in his strength. However, facing a Beast Emperor cultivated by Babata, it was still hard to say whether they could win. At this moment, the battle between Thunder God and the Beast Emperor began to intensify. The ground shook more violently, and on the communicator, the figures of Thunder God and the Beast Emperor moved rapidly from underground into the lake. Upon entering the lake, Thunder God's speed was somewhat restricted, and he gained no advantage against the Beast Emperor's attacks. The Beast Emperor's massive size and numerous tentacles continuously attacked Thunder God. Retreat, retreat. As the battle between the tentacle monster and Thunder God shifted to the lake, the council members by the lake began to retreat rapidly. As they retreated, huge tentacles broke through the lake's surface, striking the lakeside. The giant tentacles, with their immense power, left deep ravines in the earth with each attack. Thunder God, who had been fighting underground, no longer held back. His thunder domain was unleashed, his speed soared, and he attacked the Beast Emperor. Chapter 56, Check-in Meteorite. Within the Misty Island, Thunder God and the Beast Emperor continued their battle. It must be said that Babata had put in a lot of effort for this Beast Emperor. Its strength was in no way inferior to Thunder God's current power. After an hour of fierce fighting, Thunder God leaped out of the water and came ashore. This Beast Emperor has too much vitality. Attacking him is like tickling him. It can't cause any fatal damage at all. Thunder God was quite frustrated, his thunder domain receding. The Beast Emperor's strength was not much different from his, and even with the domain's enhancement, Thunder God completely held the upper hand. The Beast Emperor couldn't attack him at all, but every one of his attacks caused very limited damage to the Beast Emperor. Winning was easy, but eliminating him was difficult. The talent of these monsters is indeed very strong, their vitality is powerful. Hong also agreed, noting that monsters could grow rapidly thanks to their inherent nature and the law of survival of the fittest. Resources were often concentrated in the hands of the strong. Qin Hao, do you want to try making a move? Hong turned to Qin Hao and asked. Hong's words drew the attention of the surrounding counselors, who all looked at Qin Hao. Everyone could clearly sense Hong's attitude towards Qin Hao. It was a state of equal interaction and also a form of recognition. Let's just watch Hong display his might. I won't make a fool of myself, Qin Hao replied. Although the Beast Emperor was powerful for the current Qin Hao, he had no interest in fighting him. Hong didn't say anything, just smiled mysteriously and leaped directly into the lake. Hong's combat speed was much faster than Thunder God's. After Hong entered the lake, the surface began to churn continuously, and tentacles resisted even more fiercely. However, not long after, sections of broken tentacles floated on the surface of the lake or were directly flung onto the shore. As expected of Earth's strongest, Qin Hao couldn't help but sigh as he watched Hong fighting. Hong simply hadn't received proper guidance and was unclear about his future path. It had only been a little over a year since he obtained the secret manual from Qin Hao. Hong's strength had undergone earth-shattering changes, reaching planetary level 8th order, breaking through with 10 Muya crystals. The greater change was in Hong's power exertion, which had already exceeded 10, and his domain had also advanced from the first to the third level. Such strength completely crushed the beast emperor. Og. A piercing and sorrowful sound emanated from underground, causing the ground to tremble slightly. All the surrounding counselors couldn't help but feel their eardrums vibrate, their faces contorted in pain, and their bodies recoiled. At the same time, bubbles continuously emerged from the misty island lake, and a giant monster floated to the surface. Subsequently, Hong's figure leaped out of the lake and came to the shore. Dead. The beast emperor is dead. The exhilarating news spread throughout all the camps, while the counselors were shocked by Hong's power. Hong is stronger than before. A new consensus formed in everyone's hearts. Compared to everyone else's awe, Qin Hao and Thunder God showed little change, having already anticipated Hong's strength. Meanwhile, Luo Feng, who was standing by, was filled with excitement and fighting spirit. Seeing Hong deal with the Beast Emperor, Qin Hao knew that a new feast was about to begin, and Babata was about to take action. Qin Hao didn't care about the Muya crystals, but he was more interested in whether there would be a check-in opportunity upon reaching Yun Mo planet. Since his last breakthrough to planetary-level check-in, Qin Hao had only checked in once this year, gaining experience in inner force from Teng Qingshan of the Nine Cauldrons record. However, this was limited to Teng Qingshan's experiences while on Earth. As in the original work, that night, various forces began their exploration of Misty Island, and Luo Feng's discovery of the Muya crystals aroused the covetousness of all the powerful counselors from various forces. It seems it has begun. Ancient One, scan the status of all areas around Misty Island, Qin Hao said to Ancient One. After his smart bracelet flashed, a holographic image appeared on the bracelet, showing the entire Misty Island, and even the Yun Mo planet deep underground was included. Intelligent life detected. Connect or clear, Ancient One's voice echoed in Qin Hao's mind. As a champion-level expert and a core champion expert of a major force, Ancient One's intelligence level far surpassed Babata's. No, block scan, Qin Hao said, walking out of the dojo of Limit's camp, preparing to enter Misty Island. Are you also going to join the fun? In the camp, Hong, who was drinking tea with Thunder God, saw Qin Hao preparing to leave and asked. Adventure is a man's romance, Qin Hao said with a smile. After speaking, he greeted Thunder God and directly entered Misty Island. Following the route on Ancient One's holographic map, he rapidly descended. 1,000 meters, 2,000 meters, 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters. Qin Hao avoided everyone around him, not even paying attention to the Muya crystals that appeared from time to time. These Muya crystals were Babata's bait and one of Luo Feng's resources. After diving below 15,000 meters, Qin Hao began to move towards the location of Yun Mo planet. As a marquee-level immortal spaceship, Yun Mo planet was quite large, and Qin Hao quickly appeared above the spaceship. Qin Hao was unsure if he could check in at Yun Mo planet. Although Yun Mo planet was called a planet, it was essentially a spaceship. The last location check-in was Earth, and with such a location check-in mode, Qin Hao had no reference whatsoever. Ding. A soft sound, and the check-in button on the simple panel lit up again. It seems it really can. Seeing his guess confirmed to some extent, Qin Hao was very happy. Qin Hao was still unclear about the exact rules of checking in. However, annual check-ins were basically once a year, and breakthroughs in major cultivation realms also allowed check-ins. Location check-ins were still being explored. Check-in. His consciousness lightly pressed the check-in button. Check-in successful. Check-in location. Yun Mo planet obtained. Array Dao 900 scrolls. As the check-in was completed, the Array Dao 900 scrolls transformed into a stream of light and appeared in Qin Hao's sea of consciousness, looking at the light formed by the Array Dao. In his sea of consciousness, he wasn't in a hurry to enter it. The Array Dao 900 scrolls contained Qi Haoyuan's comprehension of array formations in the stellar transformations world, including over 100 scrolls of killing arrays, over 200 scrolls of defensive arrays. and over 500 scrolls of confinement arrays. One must know that it took Chi Haoyuan a billion years to comprehend the first realm of array formations, so the complexity of the information in the array Dao can be imagined. Ultimately, array formations were about the application of laws and the application of nature. For the current Qin Hao, they were more for reference, better than nothing. Qin Hao still had some expectations for the array Dao 900 scrolls. After all, Qin Chen's comprehension of the Qian-Kun array could create a miniature world, which had similarities to his current one thought creates world, and might be useful for his comprehension of heaven and earth, as well as the 8 great laws. Chapter 57 Rules. Chapter 57 Laws. After completing the check-in, Qin Hao did not linger, but left directly. He was very familiar with the upcoming plot and had no intention of participating in it. This was Luo Feng's opportunity and the beginning of his explosive growth in the early stages. Furthermore, compared to a dilapidated Yun Mo planet, the inheritance of Source Star King and Source Star was superior in every aspect. Qin Hao's current goal was also very clear: to improve his strength and deal with the golden-horned beast that was about to appear. Earth's early troubles were the golden-horned beast and Nalan Mountain. After these two, Earth would enter a relatively long period of peace. This way, he could devote more time to cultivation and leave Earth with peace of mind. "What did you gain?" Hong and Thunder God asked after Qin Hao came out. "A few Muya crystals, but Luo Feng should have a surprise." Saying that, Qin Hao threw the Muya crystals to Hong and Thunder God. These Muya crystals were not obtained from Mist Island, but were taken by Qin Hao from the Source Star King's resources. Each of them received over 100, which was completely enough to break through to planetary level 9. For the next period, Qin Hao planned to focus on secluded cultivation, striving to break through to astral rank. Whether it was the impending golden-horned beast or entering the universe, astral rank strength would better ensure his self-preservation. With astral rank power, combined with his domain and a 9x gene level, Qin Hao could even contend with universe rank experts. However, it would only be a contention. To gain an advantage, he would need to be at least astral rank 6 or higher, or have comprehended a law. A domain could only ensure invincibility at the same rank, and even this invincibility was relatively limited. After all, while few astral rank cultivators comprehended domains, their numbers were vast within the immense data of the entire human race. In the Genius Battle, those who ranked well in each world district had a deep understanding of domains. Hong and Thunder God accepted the Muya crystals without much polite refusal and put them away. Both had guesses about the inheritance Qin Hao had received. Whether it was secret techniques or resources, he should not be lacking, but the exact amount was unknown. Before leaving Mist Island, Qin Hao went to find Jieyi again, and also gave him a considerable number of Muya crystals, even more than Hong and Thunder God received. After all, Jieyi had the country behind him, and his personality dictated that even if he received resources, most of them would be distributed by him. Leaving Mist Island and returning home, Qin Hao immediately entered a new round of cultivation. Inside his world ring, Qin Hao first entered his Sea of Consciousness and delved into the 900 scrolls of Array Dao obtained from the check-in. What met Qin Hao's eyes was a vast ocean of scrolls, neatly arranged in a space filled with light. Although there were 900 scrolls, among the more than 100 scrolls of killing arrays, over 200 scrolls of defensive arrays, and over 500 scrolls of confinement arrays, there were also various explanations of Array Dao knowledge. From the origin and composition of arrays to the refinement of magic treasures required for setting up arrays, all these contents were included. Chi Haoyuan was known as the god of craftsmen, and a large part of array formations existed for artifact refining. Therefore, his array formations also contained a lot of knowledge about artifact refining. However, for Qin Hao now, this part of the content was not urgently needed, nor would it be considered at this time. For him now, what was more important was the improvement of his strength and the comprehension of laws. Time was very pressing. Even if he was interested in artifact refining, he would have to wait until he reached the World Lord or even Undying stage before studying this field. And it was something he would definitely study. Qi Haoyuan was an existence capable of refining primordial spirit treasures, which were at least equivalent to God-King-level divine artifacts, after a rough browse through the 900 scrolls of Array Dao. Qin Hao organized the parts related to the 5 elements and placed them in a separate area. Even if the 5 elements laws of the 2 worlds had differences, there were more commonalities, which would certainly help Qin Hao comprehend and apply the 5 elements laws. Ancient One, prepare a new cultivation plan. Exiting the consciousness space, Qin Hao said to Gu, who was by his side, "Are you sure you're ready? The training you designed is too difficult for a planetary level." Gu's words held a hint of hesitation. During a year of training, Qin Hao's madness in cultivation astonished him, but even more incredible was that Qin Hao actually persevered. In this new round of cultivation plan, Qin Hao had once again increased the intensity, even exceeding the limits of what a planetary level could endure, completely challenging his own limits. "No problem, begin training," Qin Hao said with certainty. As Qin Hao's words fell, a ripple appeared around him, and even the dust in the air became heavy, causing Qin Hao's body to sink slightly. "The current gravity has reached your limit," Gu said, while slowing down the rate of gravity increase. "Not yet, continue to increase," Qin Hao said, feeling the pressure that gravity brought to his whole body. Completing the first stage of the Crimson Bright 9 Heavens diagram cultivation not only improved his gene level, but also transformed his body in all aspects. His endurance, defense, and recovery capabilities were all significantly higher than those at the same level. At the same time, Qin Hao unleashed his wood domain, using it to accelerate his recovery. He also used the extreme state and the ultimate application of the wood domain to train it. "All right, you can stop," Qin Hao said, feeling the heavy sensation in his body and the pressure on his internal organs, calling a halt to the gravity increase. The reason for choosing this cultivation method was, on one hand, to train the body through gravity and accelerate cultivation speed, and on the other hand, Qin Hao also wanted to touch the earth law through the experience of gravity. After all, compared to others, gravity was relatively more intuitive. This time, Qin Hao's objective was also very clear. Rapidly improve his strength, break through to astral rank as soon as possible, and comprehend the power of laws. If he wanted to comprehend slowly, relying on Qin Hao's talent, the time wouldn't be too long, but when it would happen still depended on opportunity. In the current situation, the goal was to stimulate his potential. Qin Hao had a very clear target for himself in the genius battle, Balan. Since he had come to such a world, some things still needed to be contended for. Balan's talent was not weak, and Qin Hao's talent was equally excellent, he just lacked time. Compared to the hundreds of years of cultivation for genius battle participants, Qin Hao's time was still considerably shorter. One must know that, in the original work, if Balan had not taken the wrong path, it would have been very difficult for Luo Feng to catch up to him. At the astral rank, his comprehension of space law surpassed the vast majority of world lords, truly earning Balan the title of a genius of tens of thousands of epochs. Qin Hao's cultivation progressed orderly. As his strength improved, the laws also seemed to be within reach, ready to be grasped at any moment. Chapter 58, The Law of Wood More Difficult Than Expected. Inside the world ring, Qin Hao was completely drenched in sweat, his muscles bulging and trembling with each breath, exhausted to the extreme. However, his will still persisted. Although the wood domain on his body flickered as if it would shatter at any moment, it still did not dissipate. After 3 months of training, Qin Hao's progress was incredibly rapid. With the extremely dense cosmic energy around him and his brutal self-cultivation, Qin Hao's cultivation had reached planetary level 8th order. At the same time, his comprehension of the domain continued to deepen, but he still couldn't grasp the law. The fluctuations of the law were so obvious, yet he always failed to seize them. Aside from his comprehension of the law, Qin Hao's other cultivation was quite normal, even very smooth. His explosive power had reached 36 times, which was quite good among planetary-level cultivators. His comprehension and application of various domains and the cultivation of secret techniques also progressed very smoothly. He had already mastered the introductory secret techniques of the domain and skillfully controlled them. He even created moves like Mount Tai, Kunlun, and Buju specifically for the Earth domain and his comprehension, fully unleashing his strength. The current Qin Hao could instantly kill his past self. You're pushing too hard. Cultivation isn't just about rushing forward, you also need to stop and look at the scenery by the roadside. Gu was very clear about Qin Hao's state. He was too fixated on the law, and it was this fixation that limited his comprehension. Laws cannot be forced. The Tao follows nature, all things are laws. It seems I need to rest for a while. Qin Hao nodded. For these 3 months, he had hardly rested at all, either training or constantly adjusting the intensity of his training. Even his time outside the world ring was very limited. You are already on the edge of the law. You can grasp it at any time. Take this period to calm your mind. Qin Hao had completely comprehended the first enlightenment stele left by Source Star King. He could be said to have complete control over the domain, and stepping into the law was only a matter of time. However, it was too difficult for a planetary-level cultivator to cross the threshold into the law. What limited Qin Hao was not his comprehension or law affinity, but his realm and opportunities. Okay, Qin Hao replied, then directly exited the world ring. Brother, where did you go again? You haven't paid attention to me for so long. Entering the living room, Qin Ying quickly put down her paintbrush and jumped into Qin Hao's arms. With the various spirits of flora Qin Hao had previously obtained from Hong and Mist Island, the physical quality of Qin Hao's entire family had greatly improved. Although Qin Ying was young now, she already had the strength of an intermediate student. All right, I'll spend all my time with you now. Qin Ying was not very old and was still in a clingy phase. She was especially dependent on Qin Hao. However, as Qin Hao became a martial artist, the time he could spend with her became less and less, and Qin Ying became even clingier every time she saw him. It was precisely this family atmosphere that allowed Qin Hao to quickly regain his calm each time. How about Big Brother takes you to the amusement park today? Yay, let's go quickly. I want to ride the horsey, Qin Ying cheered, urging Qin Hao to depart quickly. Mom, Dad, I'm taking Ying out to play. You don't need to wait for us for lunch. Qin Hao shouted, then directly took Qin Ying out the door. After leaving, Qin Hao did not choose the Martial Arts Academy's designated car, but instead took Qin Ying to the subway station, preparing to take the subway there. Looking at the constant flow of people entering and exiting the subway, Qin Hao couldn't help but feel emotional. In his previous life, he was one of countless ordinary people, commuting by subway and bus every day, spending every day busy, struggling for survival. After coming to this world, Qin Hao originally thought he would be like his previous life. He never imagined that at 18, he would have the opportunity to change his fate and have everything he had now. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Looking at everyone around him while feeling emotional, he also constantly observed each person. Although in this world overrun by monsters where everyone was busy struggling for survival every day, everyone's expressions were different. Happy, sad, numb, striving, everyone was unique. 3,000 feet of red dust, 5,000 years of vast seas. Time changes everything, but the only thing elusive is people. Qin Hao couldn't help but sigh. No matter which world or which era, people were always the most complex. Brother, what's wrong with you? Seeing that Qin Hao's attention wasn't on her, Qin Ying pinched Qin Hao's ear and said loudly, "Nothing, I'm just thinking about what delicious food to take you to eat later." Qin Hao poked Qin Ying's nose, saying dotingly, "Who taught you all this?" "Mom taught me. She always calls Dad like that." Qin Ying smiled sweetly and said innocently. Along the way, Qin Hao coaxed Qin Ying while feeling everyone around him. The 3,000 red dust has been a method for cultivating the mind in ancient Taoist, Confucian, and Buddhist traditions. Qin Hao had once wanted to try this method, but he had never found the right way. Now, however, he involuntarily entered this state, and Qin Hao couldn't help but sigh with emotion about this situation. I want to play this and this too. As soon as they entered the amusement park, Qin Ying was attracted by its various facilities. As if unleashed, she pulled Qin Hao, quickly darting through the amusement park. While playing with Qin Ying, Qin Hao gradually forgot about what he needed to observe, completely focusing his attention on Qin Ying and accompanying her. Compared to cultivation, this simple life, the joy of being with loved ones, made Qin Hao feel an unprecedented peace in his heart, and his whole being seemed to be filled with vitality. Having been in a state of cultivation for a long time, Qin Hao had overlooked many things. Although he often came out to accompany his family before, it was more of an adjustment outside of cultivation. This kind of complete relaxation, however, was his first time since becoming a martial artist. Every experience, every life experience, brings different insights to the heart. In the past few years, Qin Hao had been constantly moving forward, constantly experiencing things, but most of it was still within cultivation, and his life experiences were relatively limited. For a few days, Qin Hao spent most of his time with his family. However, during his time with his family, Qin Hao felt that the mist blocking him from the law was gradually dissipating. To Qin Hao's surprise, what he felt was not the earth law he had always wanted to comprehend through gravity, but the law of wood. As he grasped the fluctuations of the law of wood, Qin Hao's wood domain involuntarily spread out, and the powerful life within the domain continued to sublimate. As this life force diffused, the plants in Qin Hao's home garden began to grow wildly. Chapter 59, Babata. Chapter 59. Babata. In Minju community, the plants around Qin Hao's house grew rapidly. Flowers bloomed quickly, and after their seeds scattered, they swiftly rooted and grew again. Trees, as if fed with fertilizer, became thicker and more luxuriant, growing into towering giants that enveloped the entire community. Qin Hao's house, in particular, was already covered in various flowers and plants, both inside the house and in the yard. Even the small trees in the courtyard had grown into colossal giants, their roots tearing through the floorboards, transforming the entire house into a primeval forest. At the same time, Luo Feng's house next door to Qin Hao's was also affected. What's going on? Luo Feng, who was training in the virtual space, was startled awake by the ground's tremor. As he looked around, tree roots burst from the ground and grew rapidly. Along with the roots, the surrounding soil churned, and flowers and plants took root, growing swiftly. Babata, what's happening? The situation before him was beyond Luo Feng's comprehension, so he hastily summoned Babata to inquire. What's wrong? What happened? Babata's virtual image appeared and asked Luo Feng. Look around you, Luo Feng said, quickly exiting the room while telling Babata to observe the surroundings. Is this the law of wood? Babata looked at the surrounding plants and said in disbelief, laws are the hallmark of a world lord and the path to becoming undying. Even the entire Milky Way galaxy couldn't produce someone with a law, let alone Earth. Even Hong and Thunder God, whom he had already met, had only touched upon the wood domain, which already made them geniuses. Now, for a law to appear, Babata couldn't help but doubt his own eyes. It started next door, go check it out quickly, Babata quickly told Luo Feng. Next door, Qin Hao's house. Luo Feng quickly arrived at Qin Hao's doorstep. The main gate had been destroyed by the surrounding plants, and the entire villa had clearly become a kingdom of vegetation. Qin Hao, Qin Hao, Qin Hao. Entering Qin Hao's house, Luo Feng immediately called out. The situation before him was too bizarre. Although the rapidly growing plants had no offensive power, they were extremely abnormal. Even having reached planetary level, Luo Feng felt he was still very far from being able to achieve something like this. Especially after hearing about the law from Babata. He was no longer a novice. From the cultivation data he obtained from Babata and the secret techniques shared by Hong from the Dojo of Limits, he had a certain understanding of what a law was. In the training room. Hearing Babata's words, Luo Feng quickly headed towards Qin Hao's training room. Upon entering the training room, countless flowers adorned the walls, but there wasn't much damage to the floor. Qin Hao was currently in the midst of cultivation, seemingly oblivious to the changes around him. Don't disturb him, Babata quickly said as Luo Feng was about to wake Qin Hao, and then began to scrutinize Qin Hao carefully. Unbelievable, unbelievable, brain region breadth 32. Ninefold gene, planetary level stage 8. Wood domain 9th stage, and he has even comprehended the law of wood. Incredible, 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 Babata muttered continuously, his eyes shining. It's a pity he's not a psyker master. However, a warrior can also be cultivated, Babata said, then looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, you must persuade Qin Hao to join Yun Mo planet. Wow, what pretty flowers. Daddy, Mommy, look quickly. Our house has so many flowers. Just then, Qin Ying's voice rang out from outside the door, followed by a rush of hurried footsteps from outside to inside. Hearing the sound, Luo Feng quickly walked out and met Qin Hao's parents and Qin Ying. Luo Feng, what happened? Why did the community turn into this? Qin Hai and Wang Su asked anxiously. Where is Xiao Hao? Qin Hao is cultivating. There's no problem. He should be finished soon, Luo Feng said, while continuously reassuring Qin Hai and Wang Su. Good, good, as long as nothing happened. Daddy, Mommy, look how beautiful this flower is. Quickly help me pick it to give to Big Brother, Qin Ying exclaimed, jumping up to reach for a vibrant flower. Okay, coming right away. In the training room, Qin Hao opened his eyes, which were filled with excitement. The law of wood, the power of a law, he had mastered it. The first step to becoming a strong practitioner had been taken. Why are there so many flowers? Looking at the surrounding flowers, Qin Hao was also startled. At the same time, feeling the changes in the surrounding flowers, plants, and trees, Qin Hao's heart stirred. He released his perception, and the countless trees and flowers throughout the entire community contained traces of the law of wood that he had just mastered. I did this. The power of a law is indeed extraordinary. Qin Hao perceived the surrounding flowers and plants for a moment. A tiny bit of law aura and tenacious vitality. Although it brought quite a bit of trouble to Minju community, the vitality permeating these flowers and plants also improved the bodies of those within it to some extent. I should still inform Hong and have the dojo resolve it. Dojo Master, the matter in Minju community needs to be handled by the dojo, Qin Hao said directly, getting straight to the point. No problem, Hong readily agreed, then asked about Qin Hao's strength. Hong, who controlled the wood domain, was very clear about its power. The situation in Minju community was definitely not something a wood domain could achieve, at least not with the abilities he currently possessed. Planetary level stage 8, and there's been a breakthrough in my wood domain comprehension, Qin Hao said vaguely. A breakthrough from wood domain to a law was also a breakthrough. The dojo's people will arrive shortly, Hong said. Dojo Master, try not to damage these plants, they have unexpected uses, Qin Hao said with interest. Although these plants couldn't reach the level of spirits of flora, being affected by the law meant that for a period in the future, they would continuously release faint vitality. Living in such an environment would also have certain benefits for the body. Even if they couldn't cure all ailments, they could alleviate some physical pain. Big brother, look at this flower, isn't it pretty? As soon as Qin Hao walked into the yard, Qin Ying quickly ran out and spun around in front of Qin Hao. Our Ying Ying is the prettiest, Qin Hao said, picking up Qin Ying and teasing her. Let's rest in the yard for a bit. The dojo will come to handle it soon, Qin Hao said, gently stroking a vine by the wall. The vine grew rapidly, forming several rattan chairs in the small courtyard. Qin Ying was the first to sit on a rattan chair, happily looking at the flowers and plants around it. The others also sat down and conversed. Luo Feng, on the side, responded vaguely, appearing somewhat distracted. Chapter 60, Refusal. Chapter 60. Refusal. Outside Minju community, teams of people entered the community and began to repair the buildings. Actually, the most affected were a few homes around Qin Hao's house. Other villas weren't too damaged, only their yards were partially destroyed after the plants grew wildly. The professional team from the Dojo of Limits indeed had high work efficiency and technical skill. Within a day, the community was completely repaired. Qin Hao's home was also restored, with damaged areas like the living room and basement patched up again, and even the foundation reinforced. Let's go, we'll talk in the training room, Qin Hao said, leading Luo Feng into the training room. Before Luo Feng could speak, a figure appeared beside him. It was Babata. Hello, Qin Hao. I am Babata, the intelligent life of the Yun Mo planet master, the great immortal expert. Babata said proudly, puffing out his chest. As the intelligent life of an immortal expert, Babata had once roamed the universe, so he naturally looked down on a native. It was only when facing a genius like Qin Hao, and after waiting for 50,000 years, that things began to change. However, Qin Hao did not show the surprised expression Babata had expected. Instead, he looked at him calmly. An undying is like a god, an expert with endless life who can traverse the universe, Babata insisted, still not giving up. In his opinion, Qin Hao wasn't surprised because he didn't understand the status of an undying. Oh, Qin Hao responded with a soft-o which drove Babata crazy. Kid, it's just an undying. Is he a general, a champion, or a king-level immortal? At this, Gu's figure also appeared before Qin Hao, speaking to Babata in a calm tone. You, who are you? Gu's appearance greatly shocked Babata, and from Gu's tone and words, he knew that the old man before him was not simple. I am Gu, and my master is the great king-level immortal, Source Star King, Gu said. King-level immortal. How could Earth possibly have the legacy of a king-level expert? My master didn't even discover it. Babata quickly pondered in his mind. A champion is a peak expert among the undying. His master, Hu Yanbo, had only barely reached the champion level. Luo Feng, standing by, was already astonished, not expecting Qin Hao to have such an opportunity. Ancient One, that's enough. I won't join Yun Mo planet, don't worry. Qin Hao said, seeing that the two were about to start arguing. Both Babata and Gu were intelligent life forms who had lived for countless years. And now, with their sharp-tongued bickering, he worried about what might happen between them. Gu nodded, quite satisfied with Qin Hao's answer, and his figure dissipated. Babata also disappeared in disappointment, leaving only Luo Feng and Qin Hao in the training room. All right, that's settled. How has your strength improved recently? Qin Hao asked, looking at Luo Feng. Qin Hao had been cultivating for a while, and more recently, he had mostly been spending time with his family, so he hadn't paid much attention to Luo Feng, and the two had barely met. With Babata's guidance, I've improved a lot, but I still can't quite grasp the domain. Luo Feng said, somewhat troubled. His conditions were much better than Hong and Thunder gods, and he had Babata's guidance and numerous secret techniques from Yun Mo planet. But he still hadn't comprehended a domain, which greatly frustrated him. Don't just stay cooped up, go out and explore more, Qin Hao suggested, and at the same time began to recount his own process of comprehending a domain as well as Hong's process to Luo Feng. Although the processes by which the two comprehended their domains did not have the support of as many secret techniques as Source Star and Yun Mo planet, both domains and laws relied more on comprehension and serendipity. The comprehension process of Earthlings might be more effective for Luo Feng. After all, among the many races of the human race, there are differences in how domains are comprehended, and for Earthlings, the advantage in temperament is the greatest boost to comprehending domains and laws. After Luo Feng left, Qin Hao's family chatted continuously after dinner, and the conversation gradually drifted to the topic of Qin Hao's marriage, giving him a headache. Although he was truly the strongest expert on Earth, Qin Hao still couldn't hold his ground on this issue. In particular, Qin Hao didn't care much about emotional matters. After all, his future goals meant he wouldn't stay on Earth for too long. His parents and sister would continuously improve their strength with his resources, live very long lives, and be able to accompany each other. If he really married and had children, his wife would face endless loneliness. Just like Zhu Xin in the original work, she constantly strived to pursue Luo Feng. The story didn't elaborate much on this, but for a person, this process was too exhausting. As soon as the topic came up, Qin Hao immediately excused himself, claiming he needed to cultivate, and left the living room to return to his training room. Upon arriving at the training room, Qin Hao entered his world ring and began a new round of cultivation. His next goals were to break through to planetary level 9, then to astral rank, and to comprehend the second enlightenment stele. 3 months passed in a flash, and the cultivation goal of planetary level 9 had been achieved. Furthermore, in the past 3 months, Qin Hao found that his comprehension of laws was exceptionally smooth. After breaking through the law of wood, Qin Hao felt as if he had suddenly awakened. The laws, which were previously clear but untouchable, now truly manifested before him. In addition to the law of wood, Qin Hao had gained some comprehension of the law of metal, water law, law of fire, and earth law, and could complete breakthroughs at any time, mastering the laws and initiating all 5 elements laws. Next, I need to prepare to break through to astral rank, Qin Hao said, ending his comprehension of laws and beginning preparations for the breakthrough. Ancient One, increase the cosmic energy concentration. I'm preparing to break through to astral rank, Qin Hao said to Gu, simultaneously exiting his world ring. Increasing the cosmic energy concentration required some time for arrangements, and Qin Hao also planned to spend some quality time with his family. This breakthrough to astral rank would take a considerable amount of time. There was only a fine line between planetary level 9 and astral rank, but the breakthrough process still required some time. After all, reality is different from novels. A major rank breakthrough is a complete transformation. After spending a week at home with his parents and sister, Qin Hao entered his world ring, preparing to break through to astral rank. The cosmic energy concentration has been increased by 5 times, and a large amount of universe crystal has been accumulated around, so there will be no mishaps, Gu introduced to Qin Hao. Absorbing the dense cosmic energy around him, Qin Hao felt the 9 stars in his dantian stirring, beginning to devour cosmic energy in large quantities. Chapter 61, Stellar Class, Chapter 61. Astral rank. Breaking through to the astral rank is more difficult than advancing from planetary level stage 1 to stage 9, and it requires a much larger amount of energy. The energy within the entire world ring is 5 times what it was before, and more than 100 times higher than the cosmic energy on Earth. In the center of the world ring, Qin Hao sat cross-legged on the ground, all his pores open. Each acupoint transformed into a giant vortex, rapidly devouring the surrounding energy. The current cultivation method was created by Qin Hao, based on the previous 5 hearts facing heaven cultivation posture, source star cultivation method, and the acupoint cultivation described in the crimson bright 9 heavens diagram. This allowed all the acupoints and pores in his body to absorb cosmic energy, and even when he wasn't actively cultivating, he could still absorb energy automatically, though at a slower rate. It was precisely because of this cultivation technique that Qin Hao was confident he could grow rapidly, even without the aid of a nutrient cabin. As energy continuously poured into his dantian world, the 9 planets began to rapidly expand, growing larger and larger, and gradually moving closer to the center of the dantian world. After 9 days, the 9 planets within Qin Hao's body had grown to their limit, seeming on the verge of shattering at any moment. It's time to break through. Qin Hao's heart stirred, and the surrounding cosmic energy formed a storm, rapidly merging into his body. It traveled through his meridians and integrated into his dantian world. Bang, 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 bang. A continuous series of 9 shattering sounds rang out as the 9 stars shattered one after another. After shattering, the 9 stars transformed into countless tiny fragments, filling the entire dantian. Condense. At the center of the dantian, a huge gravitational force emerged, gradually forming a massive vortex that began to continuously devour the surrounding fragments. As the fragments gathered, they were constantly churned within the vortex, becoming even purer under the pull of the force. At the innermost core, a crimson star gradually formed. Crimson flames burned on the star, but these flames were not real fire. Rather, they were a phenomenon created by cosmic energy becoming extremely active. As the crimson star formed, the surrounding fragments gathered even more rapidly. The immense gravitational pull covered the entire dantian world, and the energy within the dantian was rapidly devoured by the star. The star began to rapidly expand and contract. With each expansion and contraction, the energy became purer, and the star became more solid. At the same time, Qin Hao's absorption of cosmic energy also became much faster. Soon, the energy within 100 meters around him was instantly devoured. After the energy was devoured, the surrounding energy quickly refilled the void, but it still couldn't keep up with Qin Hao's rate of absorption. This is incredible. A breakthrough to the astral rank actually presents such a sight, Gu exclaimed, marveling at the changes around Qin Hao. As the star within Qin Hao's body continuously devoured energy, it gradually stabilized. Observing the star slowly forming within him, Qin Hao's law of fire domain was involuntarily released, and the law of fire became even clearer. The law of fire, which had previously been at the threshold, had now entered the beginner stage. With the law of fire at the beginner stage, Qin Hao's body seemed to be enveloped by a flame, constantly burning and making the surrounding cosmic energy even more vigorous. However, it quickly retracted back into his body, completely merging into the star within him. Finally, I've broken through. I can check in again. I wonder what surprise awaits me this time. Qin Hao was filled with anticipation for the new check-in. The rewards for breakthrough check-ins had always exceeded Qin Hao's expectations. The martial artist and planetary level check-ins had both brought significant transformations to Qin Hao. He pressed the illuminated check-in button on the simple panel. Check-in. Cultivation check-in. Astral rank reward. Nuwa diagram visualization technique. Nuwa diagram visualization technique. It's actually the Nuwa diagram visualization technique. Qin Hao's heart was filled with joy. The Nuwa visualization diagram was Jai Ling's cheat in Desolate Era, and it was a top-tier visualization method in the heavenly realm. Nuwa, in the legends of any world, is a top-tier existence at the pinnacle of the pyramid. She is the master of the great Tao of life, creation, and more, with countless myths and legends surrounding her. A visualization method from such an existence would be a crucial secret technique for Qin Hao's future growth. Whether it was for soul training or for evolving more divine abilities and secret techniques from the visualization method, as the check-in was completed, a stream of light merged into Qin Hao's sea of consciousness. After entering his sea of consciousness, the stream of light did not, like previous check-in rewards, quietly wait for Qin Hao to activate it. Instead, as soon as this stream of light entered his sea of consciousness, it began to rapidly transform. The light turned into countless threads, which then began to intertwine and weave together within his sea of consciousness. Soon, a massive scroll appeared in the center of Qin Hao's sea of consciousness. In the center of the scroll, a goddess with a human body and a snake tail, though only a visualization diagram, was depicted with such lifelike detail that it seemed to truly exist. Divine radiance surrounded her, imbued with sacredness, majesty, life, creation, and an infinite, profound meaning. After the scroll was completely woven, a dazzling light shot out from the visualization diagram. The Nuwa on the scroll seemed as if she was about to step out of the image, her closed eyes opening as if observing everything around her. However, the unusual phenomena on the scroll quickly began to recede. A ray of light, filled with life and creation, shot out from the goddess's little finger in the image, merging into Qin Hao's sea of consciousness. This energy, brimming with life and creation, integrated into Qin Hao's soul and body, his body and soul, which had already undergone a transformation during the astral rank breakthrough, began to transform once more. Within his sea of consciousness, Qin Hao's soul felt as if it were soaking in a hot spring, continuously becoming tougher and even gradually solidifying. His mind also became unprecedentedly clear, and the already clear five elements laws became even more distinct. Beyond the five elements laws, new fluctuations appeared: the wind law, the law of thunder, the law of light, and even more subtle time law and space law, which also gradually presented themselves to Qin Hao. They were becoming clearer at an incredibly rapid pace. While his soul was transforming, Qin Hao's body was also undergoing a metamorphosis. His bones, blood, meridians, acupoints, muscles, skin, and bone marrow were all continuously transforming and reorganizing. Every cell and gene was undergoing a metamorphosis. The previous traces of cultivation on his body were being washed away during the transformation. His entire being felt as if he were being reborn, remade. Even the genetic enhancements brought by Kong Chuan's blood and the first stage of the Crimson Bright Nine Heavens diagram offered no resistance under this power. They were dominated by this force, continuously integrating into Qin Hao's body and promoting his physical changes. While Qin Hao's body was transforming, Earth was also undergoing immense changes. Deep in the ocean, a giant egg shattered and a monster hatched from it. Chapter 62, Innate Tao Body. While Qin Hao was breaking through in his world ring, Earth's trial began with the emergence of the golden-horned beast. Originally, Qin Hao had tried to avoid this, but he didn't know the exact time of the golden-horned beast's emergence, and now it coincided precisely with his breakthrough. War God Palace. All the global god of war powerhouses gathered inside the War God Palace, each with a solemn expression. As the world's top powerhouses, God of war powerhouses were rarely convened together. Now, they were all assembled in the War God Palace, indicating the severity of the problem. After all the god of war and leaders from various countries arrived, the entire venue quickly quieted down. Hong made no move, and the American president ascended the podium. Leaders of all nations, esteemed speakers and god of war, the dark-skinned president said with a grim face, his voice low. Now, all the highest representatives of our Earth are gathered here, which should have been a grand assembly, but I must tell everyone with heavy hearts. The disaster, the doomsday of our Earth has arrived. Subsequently, on a large screen, the footage of the golden-horned beast attacking the North American base appeared before everyone. The powerful golden-horned beast made every god of war feel its immense strength. The ferocity of the golden-horned beast made representatives from all countries, and the god of war realized that this was truly the arrival of disaster. However, compared to the tension of most people, Hong, Thunder God, and Luo Feng, the three god ancestors, were relatively calm. When everyone was in chaos and fear, Hong stood up. Silence. With a cold shout, the War God Palace fell silent. All base cities enter a state of alert. Upon discovering the swallowed star beast, immediately report its location. Thunder God and I will confront the swallowed star beast. Although he already understood the power of the swallowed star beast, from the strength and speed displayed by the golden-horned beast, Hong still felt he could engage it in battle. Hong's current strength was considerably greater than in the original work at the same period. His power exertion, martial arts, and application of domain had all greatly improved. His power exertion was definitely among the elite of the elite among planetary level. His domain had reached the 4th level, and his cultivation had reached planetary level 9th stage, allowing him to even contend with astral rank. Especially under the power of his domain, an ordinary astral rank was simply no match for him. Although Thunder God's strength was slightly lower than Hong's, the difference was not significant. After hearing Hong's speech, everyone in the conference room felt much more at ease. As the world's strongest powerhouse, Hong was the backbone of everyone, and his stepping forward to confront the golden-horned beast indicated a certain degree of confidence in victory. Still no contact with Qin Hao, Thunder God asked Hong. Yes, but you and I can handle it. It's only astral rank 1st stage. Even if its talent is great, our combined forces have a very high chance of defeating it, Hong said confidently. In recent years, his strength had rapidly improved, and the 2 beast emperors in the sea had already been dealt with by the 2 of them. Hong also wanted to fight stronger opponents. Let's ask Luo Feng, Thunder God suggested, as it concerned the entire Earth, and one more person would increase their chances. Babata, can the Curator and Thunder God really defeat the golden-horned beast? Luo Feng asked Babata. Hard to say. Although both of them have comprehended domains, the Starry Sky Behemoth race are born darlings, immensely powerful, and possess inherited secret techniques. It's difficult, Babata said. However, you don't need to worry, there's still Qin Hao. In front of the laws, the golden-horned beast has no power to resist. Among the few people, Babata was the clearest about Qin Hao's strength. As an intelligent life form that was once an undying powerhouse, Babata was very clear about the power of the laws, and also knew what it meant for a planetary level to master the power of laws. The entire world entered a state of alert, with Hong and Thunder God preparing for battle. Inside the world ring, Qin Hao's body transformation continued. The dense cosmic energy around him continuously gathered, being rapidly absorbed by Qin Hao's body. Within Qin Hao's body, impurities were constantly expelled, and new cells were continuously growing. Blood, bone marrow, and bones, every part was being reconstructed. Flesh, meridians, blood vessels, and acupoints were all undergoing comprehensive reconstruction, moving towards perfection. As his body gradually approached perfection, wisps of the power of laws continuously integrated into his body. The power of the 5 elements laws integrated into his 5 internal organs. Wind entered his body with his breath. Lightning transformed into light and merged into his nerves, and light scattered into stars entering his acupoints. At the same time, the upper, middle, and lower dantian within his body. The upper dantian at the Yintang acupoint between his eyebrows, the middle dantian at the Shanjiang acupoint in his chest, and the lower dantian at the Qihai acupoint below his navel, also began to undergo transformation. The Qihai in the lower dantian expanded once again, and a surge of vital blood energy from his body integrated into the dantian. The color of the astral rank within the dantian gradually changed, becoming blood red. Within the upper dantian, the sea of consciousness rapidly expanded, and mental power continuously gathered, condensing into a moon-white star, directly surpassing the planetary level and growing into an astral rank emitting moon-white light flames. Within the middle dantian, a surge of mental power from the upper dantian and a surge of vital blood energy from the lower dantian converged within the middle dantian, rapidly intertwining with the cosmic energy entering the middle dantian, forming a purple star. After the purple star formed, it began to continuously contract and expand, gradually forming 9 stars from one, and finally, the 9 stars shattered and converged, forming an astral rank burning with purple flames. With the completion of the 3 dantians transformations, Qin Hao's body transformation gradually completed. Through this transformation, Qin Hao's body underwent a comprehensive metamorphosis, and his entire being became more perfect. Every muscle, bone, blood, and internal organ radiated a divine glow. Within his sea of consciousness, Qin Hao's soul transformation also came to an end. His soul became purer, more solid, almost materializing. If it were in a mythical or cultivation world, he could even achieve an innate Tao body. However, in the world of Swallowed Star, soul cultivation primarily focused on cultivation and attack secret techniques, and the path did not have a very clear cultivation system. Amazing, truly amazing. Seeing Qin Hao complete his breakthrough, Gu appeared beside Qin Hao, circled him, and said in surprise. Ignoring Gu, Qin Hao felt his transformed body. The traces of the first stage of the Crimson Bright 9 Heavens diagram cultivation had disappeared, but his genes had once again changed, reaching 10 times the original. Although it was only a one-time increase compared to before, the significance was completely different. This 10-time increase meant that his basic genes had reached 10 times, allowing him to cultivate the Crimson Bright 9 Heavens diagram again, and if successful, his genes would reach 30 times. Besides the genetic changes, what surprised Qin Hao even more was his affinity for the laws. Even when not cultivating, Qin Hao could clearly feel the fluctuations of the 10 great laws, as if resonating with his body. Body merging with Tao, naturally affinity for laws, affinity for the great Tao. This phenomenon made Qin Hao think of a certain physique, one closely connected to Nuwa, and it was the most primitive physique of the human race. Innate Tao body. Chapter 63. Fighting the golden horned beast outside Jiangnan Base City. High in the sky, dozens of figures gathered, solemnly watching the nearby coastline. Hong and Thunder God, who were leading, both had a strong fighting spirit in their eyes, and their entire beings seemed to transform into a long spear and a long saber, standing there. "They're here. Everyone, step back. Be careful of being caught in the battle's aftermath," Hong said, simultaneously transforming into a streak of light with Thunder God and flying rapidly towards the coastline. At the same time, a massive beast emerged from the sea, its scales shimmering with metallic light, and its eyes filled with savagery. After surfacing from the ocean, the golden-horned beast quickly landed and advanced towards Jiangnan Base City. It directly encountered Hong and Thunder God, who were approaching from Jiangnan Base City. The moment they met, Thunder God's figure quickly stopped. Meanwhile, Hong's speed surged again, and he charged towards the golden-horned beast. The long spear collided with the golden-horned beast. Under the two powerful forces, the air vibrated, and energy ripples swept across thousands of meters. The area within 1,000 meters was as if it had experienced a hurricane, with dust flying and vegetation on the ground turning into powder. After one collision, Hong's figure rapidly retreated, and the golden-horned beast's footsteps also halted. At the point of impact with the long spear, a white spot had almost pierced through its scales. Looking at the tiny human before it, the golden-horned beast's eyes, besides savagery, showed a playful expression, as if it had spotted prey. In its eyes, Hong, who appeared before it, was like a new toy, sparking a bit of curiosity and a desire to explore. Hong and the golden-horned beast continuously clashed. One was a starry sky behemoth from a civilized universe, and the other was the world's strongest expert who had dominated for many years. One had no combat experience, relying entirely on instinct and immense power, while the other was experienced, constantly changing his moves. Each collision caused a massive impact on the surrounding terrain. After a short battle, the surrounding plains had already turned into numerous ravines. The battle between Hong and the golden-horned beast was simultaneously broadcast to various forces globally. Is this Hong's strength? Is this the world's strongest expert? How is this possible? How can he be so strong? Now we're finally saved. No need to worry about the devouring beast destroying the world. During the battle between Hong and the golden-horned beast, people all over the world became excited. The golden-horned beast had initially put immense pressure on various forces. Although news was being blocked, it still spread globally, and everyone felt the crisis. Now, seeing Hong's battle with the golden-horned beast, everyone felt at ease as if they had found their backbone. Although the golden-horned beast was powerful, it was, after all, newly born and lacked any combat experience. Hong also discovered this during the battle, the golden-horned beast's anger and chaotic attacks after each injury. In the battle, Hong gradually gained control of the rhythm and took the upper hand. Roar. After repeated injuries, the golden-horned beast let out a furious roar, and a golden light flashed across its body. Its speed, strength, and defense instantly increased. It then frantically attacked Hong with immense power, directly repelling him. After repelling Hong, the golden-horned beast did not wait for Thunder God to come to his aid and immediately fled into the sea. Not good, it's escaping. Hong stopped his retreat and pursued the golden-horned beast, but still couldn't stop it, watching as the golden-horned beast entered the ocean. "We failed," Hong said to Thunder God. Such a powerful existence as the golden-horned beast, if not killed now, would become a threat to the entire Earth once it grew stronger. Especially now that the golden-horned beast had escaped, the entire globe could become its target. Even if the two of them could confront the golden-horned beast, they couldn't stop it. Hong and Thunder God were worried, but ordinary people around the world were cheering, as if they had won. High-level officials of various global forces also realized the seriousness of the situation and urgently arranged to enter a state of alert. Their worries were quickly confirmed. The golden-horned beast began to attack various base cities worldwide, with each action being incredibly swift. After quickly destroying and devouring metal, it would rapidly hide in the ocean. Hong and Thunder God also engaged in several brief battles with the golden-horned beast, but they couldn't keep it, and it always escaped. This can't go on. The number of casualties worldwide has already exceeded 1 million. If this continues, Earth will truly enter an apocalypse, Thunder God said to Hong after another encounter with the golden-horned beast. Now we can only wait for Qin Hao to emerge from his seclusion, Hong said helplessly. The two of them could originally handle the golden-horned beast, but they didn't expect it to grow so rapidly. In just 1 month, its strength was already no weaker than when their domains were fully unleashed. Meanwhile, Qin Hao, inside his world ring, had no idea what was happening outside and was still focused on understanding his own transformation. Although he guessed it was the innate Tao body, he had no reference point and couldn't be entirely certain. However, the increase in his affinity for laws, the affinity for law comprehension, and the affinity for cosmic energy, along with the surge in absorption speed, gradually confirmed it for Qin Hao. Especially the affinity for wind, thunder, and light law, in addition to space law and time law outside of the 5 elements laws, greatly surprised Qin Hao. Previously, he had already comprehended the space domain, but the space law had always been very obscure. Now it was incredibly clear. The path to 10 great laws fusion is now unobstructed. Qin Hao had always been trying to find a way to comprehend the 10 great laws. His affinity for wind, thunder, and light law was almost non-existent. He might have to find a way to acquire them through his second clone. Now, his talent for these 3 laws had directly skyrocketed, along with the 2 great laws of time and space. So, next would be to gradually comprehend and fuse the laws. Of course, the appearance and changes of the 3 Danshan also greatly surprised him, but more than that, it was confusion. He couldn't confirm why such changes occurred with 3 Danshan and 3 streams of power. However, these changes were good for him and beneficial. I wonder how long I've been in seclusion and if the golden-horned beast has appeared. Thinking this, Qin Hao emerged from his world ring, appearing in the training room. No one's home. Where did they go? Feeling the empty villa and noticing the dust, it was clear they hadn't been home for several days. Ancient One, contact my dad. Dad, why aren't you home? Where are you now? Qin Hao asked after the call connected. We're currently in Hongning Base City. A devouring beast appeared and is wreaking havoc. Master Hong picked us up. Okay, be careful. I'll be there shortly. After hanging up, Qin Hao was also a bit surprised. He hadn't expected the golden-horned beast to have already appeared and started destroying the world. Ancient One, lock down the golden-horned beast. Chapter 64 Transactions. Chapter 64 Transaction. Leaving his home, Qin Hao quickly ascended into the sky, heading towards the East Sea. The East Sea Naval Base had entered a state of full alert. Radars and various detection equipment were all activated, continuously scanning for activity in the ocean, and satellites in the sky were focused on the coastline area. However, for the golden-horned beast moving from the deep sea, these methods were of limited use, often only detecting it when it approached the coastline. Everyone, stay vigilant and report any anomalies immediately, said the leading general with a very serious expression. At the same time, a dozen or so astral-rank powerhouses from China, stationed outside the base along the coastline, gravely watched the coastline before them, their black god suits fully deployed, ready for battle at any moment. Along China's coastline, in various defense bases, there were always a dozen or so astral-rank powerhouses ready to engage. Such a force astonished all factions. Such a large number of astral-rank powerhouses was unmatched by any other power globally. However, even so, everyone was prepared to sacrifice themselves at any moment. After all, they were facing the golden-horned beast, a powerful starry sky behemoth that even Hong could not deal with. It's here. Notify all astral-rank powerhouses. The devouring beast has arrived. As commands were relayed, the astral-rank powerhouses outside the base quickly ascended and flew towards the coastline, preparing to intercept the golden-horned beast before it reached the shore. Our objective is to contain it, to block the golden-horned beast. Hong, Thunder God, and Jia Yi will arrive as quickly as possible, the leading astral-rank powerhouse said. No one was willing to simply die in vain. The objective of the astral-rank powerhouses in each base was very clear: to buy time. Using their numbers and black god suits, they would employ harassment tactics to contain the golden-horned beast's movements. After approaching the coastline, the golden-horned beast constantly surveyed its surroundings. Seeing only a dozen or so small, non-threatening insects, it relaxed and quickly charged onto the shore. After several battles, the golden-horned beast had become much smarter, knowing that Hong and Thunder God posed a threat to it, but other humans simply couldn't stop it. Charging onto the shore, the golden-horned beast rapidly headed towards the base. Its objective was also very clear: to quickly acquire and devour metal to grow. This was almost its instinct, the instinct to grow. The dozen or so astral rank powerhouses saw the golden-horned beast charging towards them, and each attacked it. Each person held alloy spears, directly throwing them from a distance, aiming at various parts of the golden-horned beast. Bang, bang, bang. Sounds of impact continuously rang out as spears were deflected by the golden-horned beast's scales. Watch out and dodge. With a command, everyone quickly moved from their original positions. Immediately after, the golden-horned beast's massive tail swept through the area. Even with prior preparation, several astral rank powerhouses were struck by the giant tail's attack, sent flying backward, landing, spitting blood, and fainting. The remaining 10, though somewhat shaken, still chose to attack again, drawing the golden-horned beast's attention. Repeated attacks began to annoy the golden-horned beast, which then charged towards the remaining 10. Seeing this situation, the 10 did not hesitate and scattered in 10 different directions. Although the golden-horned beast was powerful and intelligent, it was still a newborn, with limited strength and understanding of the world. After several maneuvers, the 10 lost a few more members, but they managed to stall the golden-horned beast for several minutes. Roar. The golden-horned beast's massive roar was filled with anger and impatience. A powerful golden light emanated from it. Its attack and speed rapidly increased, and it charged towards the remaining few. Not good. Before they could react, the golden-horned beast was already upon them. After all, it was an astral rank starry sky behemoth with enhanced talent, catching them off guard. The golden-horned beast was like a child annoyed by adults. All that remained was rampant rampage, but precisely because of this, it was even more dangerous. Am I going to die? This was the thought in everyone's mind, but they had no regrets. It must be said that although Jie had dispersed many resources, the people he chose were all very reliable, most of whom had extremely high loyalty to the country. After departing from Yangzhou City, Qin Hao quickly arrived at the East Sea coastline. The golden-horned beast had already appeared on the coastline and was attacking several of China's astral rank powerhouses. Qin Hao dared not hesitate in the slightest. His space domain unfolded, his speed surged dramatically, and at the same time, the explosive power of the law of fire was fully unleashed, further increasing his speed. He directly transformed into a streak of fire, charging forward at extreme speed, appearing before the golden-horned beast in the blink of an eye. At this moment, the golden-horned beast could no longer care about so much. Even the suddenly appearing small insect would not be spared. Its eyes were filled with fierce light, and its charging speed became even faster. Mount Tai, Qin Hao's earth domain unfolded, and his self-created technique, Mount Tai, was unleashed. His fist seemed to transform into a massive mountain, pressing down upon the golden-horned beast. Both were astral rank, and both had 10x gene amplification. Qin Hao didn't even need to use the power of laws, or even the power of his domain, to crush the golden-horned beast. However, to quickly end the battle and avoid affecting the surrounding people, Qin Hao chose to deploy his domain. Within the domain, the golden-horned beast seemed to sink into a swamp, its speed rapidly decreasing, stuck in place and unable to struggle. Watching Qin Hao's punch directly strike its massive head, a dizzying sensation made the golden-horned beast involuntarily shake its head. Quite resilient. He said, then delivered another punch, directly shattering all of the golden-horned beast's scales, each one stained with blood. The golden-horned beast's life aura also began to rapidly decline. However, Qin Hao knew that the golden-horned beast's life core had not been destroyed, so it would not die. It could quickly recover with enough energy and metal. Qin Hao did not intend to kill the golden-horned beast. After all, this was Luo Feng's opportunity, and he still planned to leave it for Luo Feng. He extended his right hand, and a tiny world formed, enveloping the golden-horned beast within it before rapidly shrinking. This technique was realized by Qin Hao comprehending the power of laws. Combining one thought creates world with the power of his domain. However, the duration it could be maintained was very short, requiring continuous energy input. After receiving the golden-horned beast into his palm, Qin Hao had already directly transferred it into his world ring, entrusting it to Gu's care. Resolved. Seeing Qin Hao resolve the golden-horned beast so easily, everyone was greatly astonished. This was a starry sky behemoth that even Hong, the world's strongest powerhouse, couldn't defeat, yet it had been dealt with by the young man before them. Chapter 65, Building Power. After quickly dealing with the golden-horned beast, Qin Hao did not leave immediately. Seeing the heavily wounded China counselors, he activated the Law of Wood, gathering the surrounding life energy onto the dozen or so individuals. Their severe injuries rapidly recovered, and within a few minutes, all dozen or so were completely healed. "Thank you for your hard work," he said, and then a dozen Muya crystals appeared, floating towards each of them. After they took the Muya crystals, Qin Hao transformed into a streak of light and quickly headed towards Hongning Base City. Arriving at Hongning Base City, Qin Hao did not land directly but flew over from high altitude, descending in front of the headquarters spaceship. Having broken through to astral rank, Qin Hao was an absolute powerhouse on the entire Earth. Especially after his confrontation with the golden-horned beast, his formidable strength had quickly become known to all major forces. Upon entering the headquarters, Qin Hao was not obstructed and soon arrived at Hong's reception room. Hong and Thunder God were seated in the reception room, and they stood up when they saw Qin Hao arrive. "Hall Master, Thunder God Hall Master." Qin Hao greeted them both and then sat down opposite them. "Qin Hao, I didn't expect you to be so strong. Have you broken through to astral rank?" Thunder God asked. With his innocent heart, he spoke whatever was on his mind, asking his most pressing question without any hesitation. "That's right, I've broken through to astral rank." Qin Hao did not hide his strength. "I plan to establish a force, recruiting all global counselor powerhouses to join, eliminate monsters, and enhance global strength." Qin Hao directly stated his idea of forming a force. "This force will be independent of the current major forces and will not interfere with them. In the early stages, I will provide resources for everyone to improve their strength, and these resources will be supplied by me." Qin Hao had been contemplating the formation of this force for a long time. Given the talent of Earth's people, with proper cultivation, their mental advantages could foster many powerhouses in the later stages. Moreover, resources would not be free. Resources before planetary level, even if supplied globally, would not cost much. After planetary level, obtaining resources and training would require a price or the demonstration of one's value. "No problem. Thunder God and I will notify the major forces," Hong said. He had no objection to Qin Hao's idea of forming a force. After all, Hong had always been guessing how many resources Qin Hao possessed. Now, with the plan to establish a force and utilize these resources to boost global strength, Hong, who had always felt a sense of crisis, felt much more at ease. In the past few decades, although he had consistently been the strongest on Earth, it was precisely his understanding of the cosmic powerhouses' might that kept him in a constant state of crisis. "Thank you, two Hall Masters. At the same time, I would also like to invite both of you to serve as Vice Pavilion Masters of Hayashan Pavilion. Your compensation will be settled in cultivation resources," Qin Hao said, and 2 rings appeared in his hands, which he placed before Hong and Thunder God. Space rings. Both of them had guessed what the 2 rings were. Since they contained resources, they couldn't be ordinary rings, and the only thing they could think of was space rings. They put the rings on their fingers, and their spiritual power entered the rings. "Is this really for us?" Both Hong and Thunder God felt it was incredible. That's right. The resources inside are enough for you to cultivate to stellar ninth rank, and each of you has a world lord's inheritance. I believe it will make your path smoother, Qin Hao said. Since he had decided to cultivate Earth's forces, he naturally wouldn't be stingy with the two most promising individuals on Earth. Moreover, both their character and potential were mentioned in the original work, making them completely trustworthy. Even within the entire human race, their future achievements would be unmatched, not to mention they were both Earthlings. In Qin Hao's view, the human race was the human race, and Earthlings were Earthlings. He would never sacrifice the interests of Earthlings for the human race. After receiving Hong and Thunder God's affirmative response, Qin Hao took his parents and sister directly back to their home in Minju Community, Yangzhou. The next day after returning home, Qin Hao sent a message to Luo Feng, inviting him to his house. Don't resist. After entering the training room, Qin Hao told Luo Feng, and then he brought Luo Feng into the world ring. Where is this? Luo Feng's heart was filled with shock as he looked at his surroundings. Ignorant. This is the world inside the world ring, a complete world. Originally, this world ring was nothing to its master, but it was completely destroyed in battle. Babata revealed himself, looking around and saying, I believe with Babata, you won't lack cultivation resources, Qin Hao said. However, you must have felt the aptitude of Earthlings. Even with Babata, your chances of becoming a world lord or undying are not high. Hearing Qin Hao's words, Babata nodded involuntarily, and Luo Feng also seemed thoughtful. Before becoming a martial artist, he only wanted to improve his family's situation. After becoming a martial artist, he constantly pursued greater strength, wanting to become a god of war and surpass the god of war. After meeting Babata, he also wanted to climb to higher peaks. Now, with this realistic problem before him, Luo Feng couldn't help but feel a little dejected. The gift I want to give you might help you solve this problem. Saying this, Qin Hao led the two to an area. A massive, ferocious beast lay on the ground, bleeding profusely, on the verge of death, as if it could perish at any moment. Is this a golden-horned beast? Luo Feng and Babata both exclaimed in awe as they looked at the golden-horned beast before them. That's right, a golden-horned beast, one of the peak races in the universe, with 10 times the gene, a favored child of the law of metal, with powerful talent and a vast inheritance. Qin Hao said, circling the golden-horned beast. Even in the entire universe, this is an above-average opportunity. It can reach World Lord level in adulthood. If you seize its body, then you will have no obstacles before becoming a World Lord. Qin Hao's tone couldn't help but carry a hint of temptation, making Luo Feng and Babata's eyes sparkle as they looked at the golden-horned beast. No, I can't. Luo Feng quickly sobered up. If I seize its body, will I still be human? Seeing Luo Feng come to his senses, Qin Hao nodded involuntarily. You don't have to worry about that. The golden-horned beast has a secret technique for doppelgangers, allowing it to conceive 3 doppelgangers. You can conceive your human race body again. However, before that, it's best if you marry Zhu Xin quickly, have children, and leave descendants. The conceived doppelgangers cannot reproduce. After Qin Hao finished speaking, without giving Luo Feng a chance to refuse, he put the golden-horned beast into another world ring and threw it to Luo Feng. It has been injured by me and is in a deep sleep. You can seize its body anytime. Yunmo planet should have a secret technique for body seizure, and preparations for body seizure have also been made, Qin Hao said, looking at Babata beside him. Babata, give Ancient One a copy of the path to enter and exit the solar system. Here. Babata didn't make a fuss and directly gave the entry and exit route to Earth to Ancient One. After all, he had just received benefits from Qin Hao, and all that was asked for was a route map. He had originally given up much hope for avenging Hu Yanbo, and Luo Feng was only meant to carry on the Yunmo planet inheritance. Now, with the opportunity of the golden-horned beast, Luo Feng could be cultivated to be much stronger, and revenge was no longer out of reach. Chapter 66, Haoshan Pavilion, Chapter 66. Haoshan Pavilion, subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. 3 days later, the establishment of the Haitian Pavilion spread globally through various forces, and the video of Qin Hao's battle with the golden-horned beast also rapidly spread online. At the same time, a documentary chronicling Qin Hao's growth was edited and continuously disseminated among various forces across the nation. Concurrently, the various resources provided by Qin Hao were supplied globally through major forces. At the same time, a global cleanup operation against monsters gradually began. As the instigator of it all, Qin Hao relaxed. Having reached the astral rank, he did not need to rapidly advance in a short period. The genius battle was limited to astral rank participants, and rapidly advancing to astral rank level 9 might make it difficult to control a breakthrough to the universe rank. After a period of struggle, Luo Feng also chose to take over the golden-horned beast. After quickly marrying Zhu Xin, he began preparations for the takeover. After several months of calm, the Haitian Pavilion had rapidly stabilized. Almost all global parliament members had joined the Haitian Pavilion, and land monsters had been almost completely cleared, allowing humanity to begin a new round of construction. Only the monsters on the Australian continent were left as a training ground for martial artists. The Haitian Pavilion's model was actually quite simple. While called a force, it was more of a platform, primarily catering to those at the planetary level and above. Through the virtual space constructed by Ancient One, it connected powerhouses at the planetary level and above, offering basic cultivation manuals, trial tower challenges, combat missions, teaching assignments, and global service-oriented missions to accumulate points. Points could be exchanged for manual explanations, unlocking new cultivation techniques, and even resource exchanges. Furthermore, everything was supervised and executed by intelligent life. Qin Hao did not excessively participate in its management. It was precisely for this reason that various global forces did not reject the Haitian Pavilion, but eagerly joined it. After several months of rest, Qin Hao began a new round of cultivation, fully accelerating his comprehension of laws. Although his affinity for various laws had improved, Qin Hao's current cultivation still focused on the 5 elements laws and space-time law. He planned to concentrate on the wind, thunder, and light law after his second clone was nurtured. As Qin Hao began his new round of cultivation, his first clone also departed Earth aboard a spaceship. This spaceship was a C-class vessel manufactured by Ancient One during this period. It lacked the ostentatious display of various spaceships left by Source Star King, but could still exert a certain deterrent effect in the universe. Qin Hao was very confident about his clone's departure. With 1,000 times the gene primary energy, the 5 elements laws had already reached the threshold, and he had comprehended a trace of the space-time law. Each time, Qin Hao felt that his clone was truly in protagonist mode. Departing from Earth, Qin Hao's destination was not Dragon Planet, which Luo Feng first entered, but directly Black Dragon Mountain Star, the administrative main planet of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. As Black Dragon Mountain's main planet, Black Dragon Mountain Star gathered almost all the major forces of Black Dragon Mountain and was the place most closely connected to the Ganwu universe country. After nearly a month of travel, Qin Hao's spaceship entered the Black Dragon Mountain main planet's region. External view simulation 100%. Opening the panoramic simulation, Qin Hao saw a giant planet, more than 100 times the size of Earth, surrounded by a dozen or so satellite planets. Receiving a traction signal, Ancient One said. Qin Hao, the spaceship will follow the signal and arrive at the Black Dragon Mountain Star's satellite planet's docking port. As the administrative planet of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, Black Dragon Mountain Star has very strict entry reviews. However, a C-class spaceship will not be blocked, Ancient One said. The spaceship had already followed the signal into the docking port and stopped. The minimum requirement to enter Black Dragon Mountain Star was a C-class spaceship, and each spaceship was very valuable. Besides the most common C-class spaceships, the D-class spaceship parking area also held many spaceships. with the number of E-class spaceships above that decreasing sharply. After all, those using E-class spaceships were world lords and above, all possessing world rings, allowing them to directly store their spaceships within their world rings. As the spaceship landed, Qin Hao stepped out of the hatch and was greeted by a burly man over 3 meters tall, wearing a black uniform. "Respected sir, welcome to Black Dragon Mountain Star's No. 9 satellite planet. Your spaceship's parking fee is 2,000 Black Dragon coins per year. For less than a year, it will be charged as 2,000 Black Dragon coins. Here is your parking card," he said, handing over a golden parking card with a black giant dragon on it. Taking the parking card, Qin Hao directly flicked out 10 Ganwu coins. Ganwu coins, as the currency of the Ganwu Universe country, circulated throughout the entire Ganwu Universe country, even though their use was rare in a medium-sized universe country like the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. An astral rank using a C-class spaceship and an ancient model that looks like a collector's item, and even using Ganwu coins. "I wonder which major force he's from," the big man thought happily as he accepted the Ganwu coins. Qin Hao paid no attention to the big man's thoughts, heading directly outside the spaceship parking area and boarding an intelligent spaceship, inserting Ganwu coins. "To the main city," he said. The spaceship quickly took off, and a few minutes later, it stopped in the main city of the No. 9 satellite planet. "Ancient One, let's go handle the nationality first," Qin Hao said. "Okay, the route to the Black Dragon Mountain building has been planned. Your communication number on the main city of the No. 9 satellite planet is 126,839,790,739,272,638. Now departing." After getting the route, Qin Hao soared into the sky, rapidly heading towards the Black Dragon Mountain building. As he moved, he looked at the giant city, full of futuristic technology, and couldn't help but feel surprised. A city of this scale, larger than Earth, full of futuristic technology, with an endless stream of people and vehicles, was dazzling. Most of the pedestrians on the road were at the astral rank and above, with very few at the planetary level. Among them, Qin Hao couldn't even sense the cultivation of many who should be at the universe rank and above. After all, this was a satellite planet of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's administrative main planet, gathering the elites of the entire Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Universe ranks and world lords, rare on other planets, could also be seen here. At the entrance of the building, Qin Hao stepped inside. The 2 burly men at the door involuntarily exuded a faint gene primary energy, scrutinizing Qin Hao. "HMP." Qin Hao snorted coldly, rapidly releasing his Earth domain. The immense pressure made the 2 burly men's knees go soft, and they almost knelt directly on the ground. "Please enter, sir." Qin Hao's domain was released and retracted instantly. The 2 burly men quickly saluted Qin Hao, speaking respectfully. Everyone who could survive on the Black Dragon Mountain administrative satellite planet had considerable experience. Both of them were greatly alarmed by the power of the domain Qin Hao released. To possess a domain at the astral rank was definitely a top-tier genius in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, and his background was certainly not simple. Chapter 67. Cosmic Mercenary Alliance. "Hello, sir." A woman quickly approached Qin Hao after he entered the Black Dragon Mountain building, bowing and smiling as she asked, "How may I help you?" "I want to join the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's nationality," Qin Hao said. "Please follow me." The woman said, slightly surprised, then led Qin Hao into a room. "This gentleman wishes to join the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's nationality," the woman said before exiting the room. As a medium-sized universe country, the Black Dragon Mountain Empire has very strict nationality management. "Oh, may I ask what nationality you held before, sir? Do you have the release procedures from your previous nationality?" One of the staff members asked. "No nationality," Qin Hao replied. "No nationality." The staff member was quite surprised. Generally, a planetary-level individual could obtain citizen status in various cosmic countries. To enter the universe, citizen status is almost mandatory. Only with citizen status can one avoid being captured and sold by slave traders. Qin Hao's cultivation had already reached astral rank, yet he still had no identity, which was very rare in the universe. Such a person was either someone who had grown up on an indigenous planet for a long time and had just entered the universe, or a genius cultivated by various forces who was beginning to gain experience in the universe. The person in front of him, with his calm demeanor and the occasional noble aura emanating from him, was clearly not an indigenous person. Thus, he could only be a genius from a major power. Thinking of this, the staff member couldn't help but become respectful. "Sir, please stand here and don't move," the black-skinned, red-eyed man smiled. "All right." Qin Hao knew what the other party was going to do. A device on the staff member's arm emitted a dazzling light that enveloped Qin Hao. Beep, beep. The instrument made a sound, and the staff member looked down at the instrument screen, which displayed text in the universal language of the universe. "Person not found. Since you have not joined any nationality, sir, you can directly apply to join the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's nationality. You only need to pay 50 Black Dragon coins, and everything will be handled." Qin Hao said no more and directly took out 1 Ganwu coin, giving it to the staff member. Soon, the Black Dragon Mountain nationality was processed, and Qin Hao, taking the 950 Black Dragon coins in change, left the Black Dragon Mountain building. After leaving the Black Dragon Mountain building, Qin Hao completed the virtual universe account opening at a nearby store, then directly went to the Universe Galaxy Bank to open an account. After exchanging some currency with cosmic crystals, he proceeded directly to the Universe Mercenary Alliance. Qin Hao did not use the Origin Star King's account. On one hand, only his first clone had come out, and on the other hand, Qin Hao at this stage did not need too much capital. The exchange of cosmic crystals was already sufficient. The reason for going to the Universe Mercenary Alliance was more for gaining experience. At this stage, for Qin Hao, joining the Universe Mercenary Alliance not only provided opportunities for experience, but also allowed him to understand the real universe more deeply. Furthermore, with only astral rank strength, the safety for Qin Hao was also very high. Astral rank individuals were only intern mercenaries in the Universe Mercenary Alliance, and the assessment took place in a World Lord's world. Upon arriving at the Universe Mercenary Alliance, Qin Hao completed adventurer registration and then proceeded with Universe Mercenary registration. "Astral rank first rank meets the standard," the staff member said after verifying Qin Hao's strength. "However, I must remind you that the Universe Apprentice Mercenary Assessment will be conducted in a World Lord's world. Not only is the environment complex and full of dangers, but there are also many stellar 9th rank powerhouses participating. Do you confirm your participation in the Universe Apprentice Mercenary Assessment? Confirm participation. All right, please pay a fee of 10,000 Black Dragon coins." The staff member said, and after confirming Qin Hao's payment, added, "The details of this assessment have been sent to your virtual universe account. You can check them at any time. This assessment will begin in 3 days. I wish you success." From the Universe Mercenary Alliance, Qin Hao directly found a nearby place to stay. After settling down, Qin Hao began to review the content of the Universe Apprentice Mercenary Assessment. Cloud Top World, located on Cloud Top Star, is a planet constantly enveloped in mist, and within it, Cloud Top World is a broken World Lord's world. According to legend, this fallen World Lord was a World Lord who had comprehended the Water Law, and the mist covering Cloud Top World and Cloud Top Star originated from his comprehension of the Water Law. Later, this broken world was discovered by cosmic pirates and became one of their lairs. The mission this time was also very clear: to carry out strangulation of the cosmic pirates hidden within Cloud Top World. A killing mission, however, the bounty for killing cosmic pirates reaches 1 million Black Dragon coins, which is somewhat difficult for ordinary astral rank first rank cultivators. Qin Hao thought to himself after reading the assessment materials. Cosmic pirates generally do not have very high cultivation. Astral rank is already considered strong. ordinary universe rank individuals can already obtain decent cultivation resources in various cosmic forces and rarely directly become pirates. However, what interested Qin Hao most was Cloud Top World, a water law world lord's world. He wondered how deeply this world lord comprehended the water law and if he could gain some insights from it. These were Qin Hao's current concerns. As Qin Hao's first clone with 1,000 times the genes, he had already comprehended the 5 elements laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. However, comprehending laws becomes increasingly difficult later on. Even with extraordinary talent, the speed of comprehending laws at astral rank is still very limited. 3 days passed in a flash. Qin Hao went directly to the Universe Mercenary Alliance, boarded the assessment spaceship, and departed for Cloud Top Star. Ahead is Cloud Top Star, your assessment location. As long as you complete the mission, you can return at any time. Those who do not return will be considered to have given up this assessment. A staff member told everyone after the spaceship stopped 100 kilometers outside Cloud Top Star, and the hatch opened. Upon hearing the staff member's words, everyone offered no rebuttal. After all, those participating in the Universe Apprentice Mercenary Assessment naturally knew the dangers and difficulties involved. They had long anticipated the current situation. One by one, they left the spaceship and quickly entered Cloud Top Star. After separating, all the astral rank individuals began to act in teams. Qin Hao, as the only person participating in the assessment alone, also received a lot of attention. This person is truly bold. He's only astral rank first rank, yet he dares to participate in the Universe Mercenary Apprentice Assessment by himself. Speak carefully. He might be a genius from some major power. Don't offend him. Even a genius will be helpless against a group of pirates whose strength is higher than his. Ignoring others, Qin Hao headed directly towards Cloud Top Star after exiting the spaceship. With astral rank speed, the distance of 100 kilometers was but a moment, and Qin Hao entered the mist. Chapter 68 Cloud Top Chapter 68 Cloud Top Star entering the mist. Qin Hao felt his vision blur, with visibility reduced to only about 1,000 meters. Immediately, a wave of gravity struck, and his body began to fall. However, Qin Hao quickly adjusted, following the direction of gravity, and rapidly descended, soon landing on Cloud Top Star. Perennially shrouded in mist, Cloud Top Star's vegetation remained largely unaffected. Strange rocks, trees, and various mosses were visible everywhere. Qin Hao also sensed the surrounding mist. Unlike ordinary water vapor, it contained a peculiar energy. Even a world lord couldn't sustain the power of the laws for such a long time, let alone a world lord who is already dead. Qin Hao mused, combining the state of the surrounding mist with the water law he had comprehended. However, he couldn't replicate it. It seems this Cloud Top World still holds some secrets, Qin Hao thought, then began searching for the entrance to the Cloud Top World. The entrance to the Cloud Top World was mentioned in the mission description. However, a damaged world is not completely stable, and its entrance can change, though not too frequently. He didn't expect that, even before entering the Cloud Top World and meeting the space pirates, the competition among the examinees had already begun. Not far from the world entrance, Qin Hao discovered a hidden team, and their target was clearly him. They had ambushed him from a great distance, positioned directly on the path Qin Hao had to take to the world entrance. Qin Hao paid no attention to these people and continued forward. When he was within 100 meters of them, they began to act. In the mist, 100 meters was the maximum visible range for an astral rank. Qin Hao, however, due to his powerful genes and abundant energy, could see much further than others. These individuals clearly had detectors, but the detectors could only pinpoint approximate locations. Moreover, the detection range of detectors affordable to astral rank individuals was relatively limited. This group had targeted Qin Hao the moment they realized he was moving alone. They continuously tracked Qin Hao's position and chose a location on the way to the world entrance to set up their ambush. "Haha, kid, we'll take your life and your wealth." "That's right, just blame yourself. Quickly finish him off. Don't let him send out any message. A 5-person team attacked Qin Hao with great coordination, blocking all his escape routes. It was clear they had done this many times before. They were highly skilled. The 5 individuals consisted of 2 astral rank 9th stages, 1 astral rank 8th stage, and 2 astral rank 7th stages. Among the examinees, they were considered to be of upper middle strength. However, such power was far from enough to contend with Qin Hao. As their attacks arrived, Qin Hao's mind stirred, and the water domain was released. The surrounding mist quickly gathered, being manipulated. The 5 people's vision was completely obscured by the mist. Their visual range rapidly shrank, unable to see even a meter around them. Not good, run. The leading astral rank 9th stage saw this situation and knew they had hit a wall. He shouted, quickly retreating, trying to escape. But Qin Hao gave them no chance. A 5-colored ring appeared in his hand, quickly splitting into 5 parts, attacking in 5 directions. In an instant, the 5 astral rank experts were directly beheaded, their bodies falling, still too weak. Couldn't even test the power of the 5 elements ring, Qin Hao said, slinging the 5 elements ring onto his back. The 5 elements ring was a weapon from Source Star King's treasury, forged by Source Star King using the 5 elements laws. It could be used with a single law or with the 5 elements laws in combination. After obtaining this weapon, it was immediately given to his first clone to use. After all, his first clone's primary focus was the 5 elements laws, making him the most suitable for this weapon. Having dealt with the 5 individuals, Qin Hao continued forward and soon arrived at the entrance to the cloud top world. Stepping into the world entrance, Qin Hao immediately sensed danger. His body moved rapidly, disappearing from his original spot. Quick, chase him. Don't let that person escape. Haha, he can't run away. He thinks he can leave after entering the cloud top world. How daring. An astral rank 1st stage actually dares to come to the cloud top world. The Universe Mercenary Alliance's intern mercenary assessment threshold is getting lower and lower. With bursts of wild laughter, over 100 space pirates charged towards Qin Hao. Having been entrenched in the cloud top world for countless years, these space pirates had a very clear understanding of every entrance to the cloud top world. They couldn't resist the Universe Mercenary Alliance using the cloud top world as an assessment location for intern mercenaries, but it also became one of their opportunities to acquire wealth. The mutual hunting between examinees and space pirates was the theme of every assessment. This assessment was a cleanup of the space pirates and an evaluation for the intern mercenaries. However, the space pirates guarding the world entrance were usually relatively weak, unable to occupy resources and territory within the cloud top world. They could only guard the world entrance and take advantage of opportunities. They would hide from the strong and rely on numbers to snatch resources from the weak, but clearly, this time they had miscalculated. The 100-strong space pirate gang, though numerous, was overwhelmingly composed of planetary-level individuals, with less than 2/10 being astral rank, and those were all low to mid-tier. The 100 individuals had no chance to attack. As their shouts had just begun, the 5 elements ring on Qin Hao's back had already transformed into flying blades, rapidly harvesting the lives of these space pirates. Although this clone of Qin Hao was not a psyker master, through the external release and control of gene primary energy, the power unleashed by the 5 elements ring was no less than that of any psyker master. 100-strong space pirate gang, and their total bounty is less than 10,000 black dragon coins. They really are weak. Qin Hao couldn't help but complain as he looked at the accumulated bounty amount. 1,000,000 black dragon coins might not seem like much, but for an ordinary astral rank, it was already a considerable fortune. It seems I need to find some larger space pirate gangs, Qin Hao decided, advancing deeper into the cloud top world. Upon entering the cloud top world, Qin Hao also felt the distinctiveness of the World Lord's world. The pervasive mist was even denser, and Qin Hao could even sense a peculiar fluctuation. It was this peculiar fluctuation that caused the anomaly in the surrounding mist. It was precisely because he felt the difference that Qin Hao decided to quickly complete the assessment mission and explore the distinctiveness of the cloud top world. Quickly leaving the entrance, Qin Hao headed towards the location of a large space pirate gang within the cloud top world. Before the assessment, Qin Hao had spent a considerable amount of money to understand the distribution of space pirates throughout the cloud top world. This target had multiple astral rank 9th stage individuals, over 1,000 space pirates, and a total bounty exceeding 1,000,000. As long as they were all dealt with, this assessment objective would be completed. Chapter 69, Cosmic Level. Chapter 69. Universe Rank on Cloud Top World. Qin Hao moved quickly through mountains, rivers, and forests. The mist limited his vision and perception, so Qin Hao chose not to fly, but rather to run on the ground to advance quickly. After continuously adjusting his direction, Qin Hao quickly arrived at the largest lake on Cloud Top World, which was also the location of the Space Pirates group he had chosen as his target this time. Upon entering the lake area, Qin Hao did not hide his presence and directly charged towards the Space Pirates base. Warning, warning, warning. As soon as Qin Hao entered the Space Pirates territory, an alarm sounded within the Space Pirates group. As a world where space pirates gathered, these space pirates not only hid themselves, but also guarded against other space pirates. Collisions often occurred between these space pirates, and the internal conflicts were even more brutal. Therefore, a powerful space pirates group relied on complete detection and defense equipment as their foundation for survival. Intruder, everyone, move out. Inside the space pirates base, all the space pirates began to mobilize. They were already accustomed to the Universe Mercenary Alliance's assessments, and as soon as the alarm sounded, they began to deploy. The perimeter defense weapons activated and began to attack Qin Hao's position. Lasers, cannon shells, and energy beams continuously shot towards Qin Hao's location. Qin Hao's speed did not falter. His figure constantly shifted, his speed was fully unleashed, and with the space domain released around him, his speed further increased, even creating a series of afterimages. In just a few seconds, Qin Hao had broken through layers of attacks and arrived at the outer perimeter of the space pirates base. He raised the 5 elements ring high, and the Earth domain was released, with a single strike of Mount Tai. The metal on the base's exterior shattered, creating a huge breach in the massive defensive base. He's in. Everyone gather and attack. Over 100 space pirates quickly surrounded him, each an astral rank. As expected, this was one of Cloud Top World's largest space pirates groups, and their strength was indeed formidable. It's important to know that, in the universe, astral rank strength is already considered good. One can survive quite well. Few astral rank individuals are willing to become space pirates, and those who can become space pirates survive and grow to astral rank usually have considerable strength. It's only an astral rank stage 1. How did he get through the defenses? Quickly take him down. How dare he come here to cause trouble? Kill him. The numerical advantage gave the space pirates immense confidence. They quickly surrounded Qin Hao and launched their attack. Over 100 astral rank attacking together would make even an astral rank stage 9 wary. However, to Qin Hao, they were merely a disorganized mob. With a slight smile, Qin Hao's figure vanished from his original spot. He moved rapidly through the space pirates, passing by each one. Every time he passed, a space pirate lost his life. In just an instant, Qin Hao had already passed through these space pirates and charged into the space pirates' base, commencing his slaughter. How is this possible? How is this possible? Isn't he only astral rank stage 1? Quickly notify the boss. With over 100 dead, the space pirates who had intended to charge became panicked, involuntarily wanting to retreat. What are you afraid of? We have thousands of people. Attack together. Charge. Saying this, under the leadership of an astral rank stage 6 minor leader, hundreds of people began to attack Qin Hao. Although the first wave of people were all astral rank, they were merely the space pirates' outer defenses, with strength at the bottom tier of the space pirates group. The current wave, both in strength and numbers, far surpassed the first wave, even including many core members of the Space Pirates group who were astral rank stage 5 and 6. Incited by this group, everyone became more confident. After all, as one of Cloud Top World's largest space pirates groups, they were very confident in their own strength. They had been entrenched in Cloud Top World for thousands of years, surviving both internal competition within the Space Pirates group and the Universe Mercenary Alliance's probationary mercenary assessment. Charge, kill him. How strong can an astral rank stage 1 be? Space pirates themselves are a group of people who live by the sword. When they go crazy, all that remains in their eyes is slaughter. HMPH, Qin Hao snorted softly. The space pirates before him posed no threat whatsoever. Even without using laws or domains, he could easily deal with them. As the first clone, his genes were 1,000 times that of a normal human. His pure technical strength alone could rival a universe rank. Coupled with complete secret manuals and cultivation methods, Qin Hao's starting point was much higher than these space pirates. Adding domains and laws, this group of people was like ants in Qin Hao's eyes. As the space pirates group of thousands attacked Qin Hao directly countercharged, not even using his domain, speed, movement techniques, martial arts, force exertion. All were skillfully displayed in Qin Hao's hands. The shape of the 5 elements ring also rapidly switched, sometimes transforming into a saber, sometimes a sword, sometimes an axe. Every weapon was expertly wielded in Qin Hao's hands, seeing Qin Hao foolishly charge into the crowd. All the space pirates' faces showed ferocious smiles. However, the smiles were quickly replaced by terror. Even their elites could not withstand a single move from Qin Hao, being killed in one blow. The surrounding people rapidly diminished, and the space pirates group began to want to retreat. But how could Qin Hao let them have their way? The water domain unfolded, and the surrounding mist gathered. All the space pirates lost their vision like headless flies, losing their direction. In the mist, Qin Hao's killing speed further increased, and soon most of the space pirates had lost their lives. Stop! As Qin Hao accelerated his slaughter, 3 figures rapidly approached from the core of the base. The leader shouted. Qin Hao had no intention of stopping. His killing speed only became faster. By the time the 3 arrived, the surrounding space pirates had already been dealt with by Qin Hao. Qin Hao also turned to look at the 3 newcomers, 2 men and 1 woman, all with faces full of anger. Astral rank stage 9, astral rank stage 9, universe rank stage 2. Seeing that the leader's strength had actually reached universe rank, Qin Hao was somewhat surprised. A universe rank was already considered a strong individual in the universe, capable of living a very comfortable life. Among the major powers of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, universe rank individuals were core forces, never having to worry about their livelihood. Even if they established their own power, they could find a place to survive. Nalan Mountain, who had put pressure on Earth in its early stages, was only universe rank in strength. Not every galaxy could produce a universe rank expert. Their numbers and strength could be imagined. Now, a universe rank stage 2 expert had appeared within a space pirates group. I didn't expect there to be a universe rank expert in the space pirates group. Chapter 70 Domain Collision HMPH. I didn't expect there to be a genius like you in this Universe Mercenary Alliance Apprentice Mercenary Assessment, Caesar, the leader of the space pirates, said with a very solemn tone. Having been able to grow to universe rank and survive in the universe, becoming the leader of the space pirates, he had a deep understanding of the geniuses in the universe. The young man in front of him did not look old, but with his astral rank first stage cultivation, he killed all of his pirate group's thousands of astral rank subordinates. Even he himself would find it difficult to complete this in a short period of time. This was an invincible strength at the astral rank. Now your assessment mission is complete. As long as you leave Cloud Top World now, I will let you go, Caesar said. Father. The astral rank 9th stage youth beside him called out anxiously when he heard Caesar's words. However, Caesar waved his hand to stop him. I also didn't expect there to be a universe rank expert among the space pirates, Qin Hao said, carefully observing Caesar. However, I'm not interested in your proposal. I'm more interested in why you've stayed in Cloud Top World all this time. As Qin Hao spoke, he observed the changes in Caesar's expression, hoping to glean some information from it. A universe rank expert willingly becoming a pirate and entrenched in a dilapidated world lord world must have a reason. After all, a typical world lord world after its appearance would be plundered by defeated opponents, and then again by various discoverers, its value constantly diminishing until it became a place for training. Hearing Qin Hao's words, Caesar's expression changed and his eyes became cold. It's still not too late for you to leave now, Caesar issued his final warning, releasing his genetic energy to envelop Qin Hao. Feeling the powerful aura emanating from Caesar, Qin Hao did not retreat. Instead, he took a step forward, expressing his decision through his actions. Good, good, good. Since you want to die, then I will grant your wish. Caesar drew his longsword and attacked Qin Hao. Qin Hao's movements were also swift. The 5 elements ring in his hand rapidly disintegrated, transforming into a longsword and collided with Caesar. Bang. With a simple collision, both men used their most primal strength. The moment they collided, both of their figures simultaneously retreated, and the look in their eyes changed. Caesar's eyes were filled with shock, and he looked at Qin Hao with apprehension. In the recent exchange, he hadn't gained much of an advantage. This was a difference of an entire major rank, a 1,000-fold difference in power, yet he was still at a disadvantage. How is this possible? How is this possible? In Caesar's eyes, this was utterly impossible, and he couldn't figure out how Qin Hao had done it. How exactly did you do that? Caesar asked in a deep voice. Guess, Qin Hao said indifferently, his figure disappearing from the spot as he attacked Caesar. This was also Qin Hao's first battle against a universe rank expert, and he had some anticipation for it. Powerful forces continuously collided. The sword techniques in Qin Hao's hand constantly changed, and the two gradually became entangled. In the continuous battle, Caesar grew increasingly anxious. From a space pirate to a universe rank, Caesar had also gone through countless battles and could be considered a genius. However, he was now gradually falling into a disadvantage. Damn it, don't celebrate too early. Let me show you the true power of an expert. With that, a blue light flickered around Caesar, enveloping the surroundings, and the surrounding mist was also stirred by this blue domain, water domain. Seeing the domain that enveloped him, Qin Hao was slightly surprised. Although the power of domains seemed common in the original work, in reality, everyone who could comprehend domain was extraordinary. One must know that, whether it was Babata knowing Hong had comprehended domain, or Hong and others receiving attention, and being absorbed into Virtual Universe Corporation, domain was highly valued. It was only because in the later genius battle, domain almost became the standard for geniuses, and comprehending law became the new standard. However, it must be known that those were the standards across the entire Ganwu universe country and all of humanity's territory. In the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, comprehending domain before reaching domain lord was already considered a good genius and would receive attention from various forces. However, now he actually saw a domain on a space pirate. However, Caesar's domain was not high, only at the second layer. For Qin Hao, the impact of such a domain was very limited. That's right, it's the water domain, a powerful ability that only a domain lord can master. Caesar said, becoming arrogant as if Qin Hao was already his prey, an inescapable target. Even a genius, if he hasn't grown up, is just a genius. In front of an expert, there is only the outcome of being slaughtered. However, before Caesar could rejoice, a powerful fluctuation rapidly spread from Qin Hao's body. Caesar's domain was instantly suppressed, its range continuously shrinking, only remaining on his body's surface, and the surrounding pressure continuously increased, like waves, constantly impacting his domain. At this moment, Caesar was like a small boat in a giant wave, capable of capsizing at any moment. After capsizing, the result would be being directly swallowed by the giant wave. Just a domain, and coincidentally, I can do it too. Qin Hao said to Caesar, his tone very calm, as if he had said something insignificant. I can also do something stronger than domain. Qin Hao stirred a trace of water law power and integrated it into the domain. Instantly, the domain seemed to transform into a vast ocean. Originally, the domain only drove the surrounding cosmic energy. Now, the entire domain had become like a physical entity, and the seawater in the vast ocean continuously squeezed Caesar. Caesar was like an ordinary person swallowed by the ocean, wanting to escape, but any struggle was useless. His once proud domain instantly shattered. Help! Before the sound could even escape, the seawater directly poured in. Father, the young man and woman beside them, seeing Caesar defeated by Qin Hao, quickly rushed towards the two of them. However, as soon as they stepped into the domain, they were enveloped by its powerful force, fixed in place, unable to move at all. Ah, 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 with cries of anguish, a faint blue light on the young man's body tried to spread but was instantly suppressed. Oh, I didn't expect there to be two who comprehended domain. Qin Hao was truly surprised. He hadn't expected to encounter two individuals who comprehended domain among the space pirates, and they were father and son. Killing them directly would be a bit of a waste. Being able to comprehend domain meant they were decent geniuses. One universe rank and one astral rank, they still had some use for Qin Hao at the moment. Thinking of this, Qin Hao stopped pondering. 5 colored light flickered in his eyes, and 3 beams of light shot out from his eyes, merging into the foreheads of Caesar and the 3 god ancestors. Chapter 71, Cloudtop Palace Master. The domain receded, and everything around them returned to calm. After a moment of struggle on their faces, Caesar and the 3 god ancestors opened their eyes, knelt before Qin Hao, and respectfully said, "The Source Star King's inheritance also contained enslavement secret techniques, but they were not something Qin Hao, an astral rank, could learn." However, after the baptism of the Nuwa diagram visualization technique, Qin Hao gained a glimmer of insight into soul cultivation. It was only with this glimmer of insight that his clone could perform the enslavement secret technique. However, there was also a certain weakness. The souls of the enslaved had to be weaker than Qin Hao's. This was also Qin Hao's first attempt, as universe rank and astral rank individuals with domains did possess certain enslavement value. What secrets does the cloud top world hold? Qin Hao asked directly. For a universe rank to remain here, the cloud top world must have something attractive. Moreover, the mist was extremely peculiar. Even with some understanding of the water law, Qin Hao couldn't fully comprehend the principle of its existence. Master, the cloud top world is a fragmented world left behind after a powerful world lord perished. It is said that his inheritance remains here, Caesar said. I accidentally received news that although this cloud top world master was a world lord, his strength was no weaker than that of the legendary Undying. Caesar recounted all the information he knew and had explored. When Caesar arrived at this cloud top world, it was precisely when various forces were paying attention to it, thoroughly exploring and plundering it. After all the resources were plundered, no inheritance was found, and the resources gradually dried up. Finally, the cloud top world was left as an empty shell. Caesar was only an astral rank at the time, but while exploring the cloud top world, he inadvertently entered a mysterious space and comprehended the water domain within it. Then, he was teleported out. Although the entire process felt like a dream, Caesar firmly believed that there must be a mysterious inheritance within the cloud top world. Hearing Caesar's account, Qin Hao became even more curious about the cloud top world. A place that could help outsiders comprehend a domain was indeed very mysterious. The water law must be extremely rich there, aiding in outsiders' comprehension. "Take me there," Qin Hao said coldly. "Yes, master," Caesar respectfully replied, then stood up and led the way, flying above the lake. Upon reaching the center of the lake, they began to descend. After descending 10,000 meters, the 4 of them arrived at the bottom of the lake. "Master, this is it," Caesar said. The reason the pirate base was established here was to facilitate exploration of this lake and to discover any changes in it immediately. At the bottom of the lake, Qin Hao carefully observed everything around him. During the continuous descent, Qin Hao had already felt the difference in the surrounding lake water, which was mixed with faint traces of water law and a hint of space law. The two auras intertwined, mysterious and powerful. Water law and space law fusion. Although Qin Hao had some guesses, he was mostly incredulous. Comprehending laws was already difficult for most cultivators, and many Undying had only grasped a superficial understanding of space law among the Undying. Only a few had even begun to comprehend fusion laws. Now, he was actually seeing the fusion of water law and space law within a World Lord rank world. The surrounding space feels a bit off. Releasing all his senses, Qin Hao personally felt everything around him. The intertwining and cooperation of water law and space law made the surrounding space feel unusual, like a tiny crack left beneath a tightly sealed door. Without a certain comprehension of water law and space law, it would be difficult to notice the subtle differences in the surroundings. No wonder no one discovered the uniqueness of the cloud-top world, Qin Hao quickly concluded. Those who can comprehend space law at the World Lord rank are all core members of major forces. A fragmented world simply wouldn't attract them. Even ordinary World Lords are mostly uninterested in fragmented worlds and wouldn't explore them thoroughly. You all go up and wait for me, Qin Hao instructed Caesar. After Caesar and the three god ancestors respectfully replied, they immediately surfaced. After Caesar left, Qin Hao mobilized the power within his body, and his body gradually began to enlarge, stopping only when his figure reached 10 meters. Phew, I can finally breathe a little more comfortably, Qin Hao said, stretching slightly. The 1,000 times gene made Qin Hao's clone's physique extremely massive, but it was very inconvenient to walk among humans. However, it was also due to the clone's innate talent that he could freely control the size of his body. But shrinking his body and deliberately controlling, it felt like forcing himself into a small box, which was very uncomfortable. The change in his body size also represented a further release of power. Qin Hao transformed into a 10-meter-tall muscular man, gently waving his fingers, stirring the surrounding water. Soon, a vortex formed between Qin Hao's fingers, constantly devouring the surrounding lake water. As the vortex spun faster and faster, a peculiar aura was mobilized from Qin Hao's fingertips, and the color of the vortex gradually changed, the deep blue vortex gradually solidifying. It's still not enough. It seems I still need the cooperation of space law. Qin Hao murmured, simultaneously mobilizing space law, intertwining water law and space law at his fingertips. The lake water at the bottom began to change, and faint blue and silver threads were gradually mobilized, slowly gathering with the vortex between Qin Hao's fingers and gradually solidifying. The surrounding space began to vibrate, as if a large door was gradually cracking open. As the crack appeared, Qin Hao increased the concentration of power at his fingertips, and the space door began to open, revealing a blue space before Qin Hao's eyes. As expected, there was a secret hidden here. Qin Hao's heart was also extremely excited. The Source Star King's inheritance focused more on the fusion of the 5 elements laws, with very little mention of space law. However, for Qin Hao, this was far from enough. Now that he had the opportunity to access more inheritances, and inheritances that followed the path of fusion laws, it would further accelerate Qin Hao's growth rate. Furthermore, while the resources from the Source Star King's inheritance were considerable, they were far from enough for Qin Hao, who would eventually have 3 clones. As the space door gradually stabilized, Qin Hao stepped into it. The surrounding space suddenly changed, and the surrounding mist disappeared. Cloud-top heavenly palace. 4 large characters were carved on a huge stone tablet, each stroke enveloped in a hazy, profound, and obscure aura. Chapter 72, Mysterious Atlas. Upon entering the cloud-top sky, Qin Hao was completely awestruck by his surroundings. His eyes met a world of pure white, where pristine clouds formed a colossal continent. Within this continent lay a boundless ocean, its azure waters so clear that the bottom was visible. In the center of the ocean stood a massive white palace. Though extremely distant, Qin Hao could still discern the palace's appearance. It was a vast edifice formed entirely of ice, resembling a crystal palace, Above the land, various islands made of clouds floated, and upon these islands, one could even spot creatures formed from clouds. This truly is a peculiar world, a world entirely composed of the water law. Stepping into this world, Qin Hao clearly sensed the pervasive aura of the water law throughout. Whether it was the clouds, the seawater, or the palace, all were creations of the water law. This was something Qin Hao had not anticipated at all. After all, a world lord's world is formed when a domain lord breaks through to world lord, and the formation of such a world cannot be separated from any of the 10 great laws. Yet, the world before him was almost entirely dominated by the water law, so specialized that it hadn't collapsed. After surveying his surroundings, Qin Hao stepped past the stone monument and headed towards the palace in the center of the ocean. As the only structure in this entire world, it surely held the world's secrets. Splash, splash, splash. The moment Qin Hao stepped into the ocean, the surrounding seawater rapidly converged, and massive water giants quickly formed. A total of 100 giants surrounded Qin Hao. Each giant stood 100 meters tall, emanating a faint blue glow that enveloped Qin Hao. First-level water domain. Feeling the continuously stacking domains, Qin Hao's expression became much more serious. 100 water giants, each with a domain and astral rank 9th rank strength, posed little threat, but this was only the beginning. If the appetizer was already like this, the upcoming trials would demand Qin Hao's full attention. Gripping the longsword formed from the 5 elements ring, Qin Hao also released his water domain and directly attacked the 100 giants. Boom! The battle ended in an instant. Under Qin Hao's attack, the water giants dissolved into seawater and merged back into the ocean. Qin Hao continued forward. After advancing 100 kilometers, the ocean vibrated again, and another 100 water giants formed, their water domain now reaching the 2nd level. After instantly annihilating the water giants again, Qin Hao pressed on. Another 100 li later, water giants appeared, and their water domain reached the 3rd level. He advanced 1,000 li, with water giants appearing every 100 li, and their domain had already reached the 9th level. However, even the 9th level domain water giants could not withstand Qin Hao's attacks for long and were quickly dispersed by him. The domain is already at the 9th level, and there are still 300 li to the palace. Could the next stage involve comprehending the water law? Qin Hao speculated, becoming even more solemn. Advancing 100 li, water giants appeared again. This time, each water giant carried a faint aura of law. Though only a trace of law, the difference from a domain was immense, with a vast disparity in strength. This cloud top world master is indeed extraordinary. Even after his demise, he left behind such trials, capable of materializing laws. Qin Hao looked at these hundreds of water giants possessing the aura of law, growing even more curious about the cloud top world master. Generating various opponents with laws, domains, and secret techniques in the virtual universe relies heavily on the virtual universe's power. However, creating creatures with laws in reality is far more difficult than imagined. After all, comprehending laws is one thing, but imbuing them is an entirely different matter. Even if these water giants weren't true living beings but more like puppets, it was still not easily achievable. Without giving Qin Hao much time to think, the water giants directly attacked him. Their massive bodies, astral rank 9th rank strength, and the power of law forced Qin Hao to respond cautiously. After all, despite his immense strength and deeper comprehension of laws, his astral rank 1st rank body was still very fragile, and being hit by a law attack would be troublesome. Water dragons roar. The longsword in Qin Hao's hand trembled continuously, gradually forming a dragon's roar. With the release of the power of law, it stirred the surrounding seawater, transforming it into a water dragon that charged towards the surrounding water giants. The water dragon's roar, a move combining the 5 elements ring with the water law, showcased Qin Hao's perfect mastery of this technique with its lifelike divine dragon. The moment the divine dragon collided with the water giants, its claws directly tore them apart, turning them back into seawater. After dealing with the first water giant, the divine dragon absorbed the seawater formed by the water giant, its form expanding further. Following this, a series of collisions echoed across the ocean, and all 100 water giants shattered and vanished. The power of law is truly difficult to handle. I wonder what the next two trials will be. Continuing forward, Qin Hao stopped at the 100-lie mark. The surrounding seawater began to boil, and this time, the water giants formed noticeably slower. Qin Hao did not rush but carefully observed the process of the water giants' formation. I wonder how this ocean was formed, it's so miraculous. As Qin Hao marveled, 100 water giants had already formed. Each was stronger than the previous batch, having touched the threshold of law. This time, I'll have to show some real skill. Even a slight difference in law comprehension leads to a huge disparity in strength. The pressure from these 100 water giants far exceeded the previous batch, with the difficulty increasing by at least 5 times. Water dragons roar. Without waiting for the water giants to attack, Qin Hao launched his assault first. The water dragon's roar was unleashed, rapidly attacking the water giants. However, he didn't resolve the enemies as quickly as last time, instead getting entangled by 10 water giants. Water dragon's roar. Qin Hao cast the water dragon's roar again, and 9 water dragons, with Qin Hao at their center, attacked the surrounding water giants. 10 water dragons intertwined with the 100 water giants, attacking each other continuously, but neither side gained an advantage. Azure Dragon's Scroll. The 10 water dragons let out a long roar, soaring into the sky, connecting head to tail, and merging to form a colossal azure dragon. Once formed, the azure dragon rapidly swept everything around Qin Hao. The 100 water giants were instantly shattered by the sweeping azure dragon. Only one more trial left. Having dealt with the water giants, Qin Hao continued forward. He grew even more curious about the cloud-top sky. The strength required for this trial was already comparable to the genius battle. Touching the threshold of law meant reaching the strength level of the final selection in the genius battle. Chapter 73 Mysterious Atlas 2. Inside Cloud-top Heavenly Palace, after Qin Hao dealt with 100 water giants, he continued forward, stopping after traversing another 100 miles. The surrounding seawater began to boil, and this time, what appeared before Qin Hao was not 100 water giants, but a single water giant 1,000 meters tall. Although the number had drastically decreased, Qin Hao dared not show the slightest negligence. The water giant before him made Qin Hao feel a genuine threat. It seems there will be a good fight. The moment the water giant formed, Qin Hao vanished from his original spot, directly attacking the water giant. His longsword slashed out, and water dragon's roar transformed into a divine dragon. Qin Hao leaped onto the divine dragon's head, charging towards the water giant together. Azure Dragon Scroll. Water dragon's roar and azure dragon's scroll were unleashed simultaneously, directly striking the water giant's body. The powerful attack caused the surrounding seawater to completely explode. However, the water giant had already vanished from its original spot. Not simple. Looking at the water giant that had dodged his attack, Qin Hao's heart became even more excited. At the same time, the water giant also attacked Qin Hao. Its enormous size carried immense power and the power of laws. The surrounding seawater vibrated with it, and the attack was direct and powerful. The moment they made contact, Qin Hao felt a wave-like force within the attack, continuously surging, as if it could submerge Qin Hao at any moment. However, for Qin Hao, such an attack did not cause much impact. The collision between Qin Hao and the water giant became increasingly fierce. In the constant clashes of power, the power of laws, exertion of force, and domains, Qin Hao was struck several times by the water giant, sustaining injuries. However, his injuries quickly recovered, and he re-entered the battle. Qin Hao also discovered the difference in this water giant. Not only was its power stronger, but it was also more agile, even employing some very complex secret techniques. This was something the previously encountered water giants did not possess. Azure Dragon Break. The form of the longsword in his hand changed, transforming into a long spear entwined by an azure dragon. The spear itself was wrapped by an azure dragon entirely formed from water law. As the spear thrust out, the azure dragon merged into the spear, piercing towards the water giant's head. The spear's speed was incredibly fast, reaching the water giant's eyes in the blink of an eye, about to pierce its head in the next instant. However, the moment it struck, the water giant's figure vanished. After feeling that he had struck empty air, Qin Hao accelerated and quickly disappeared from his original spot. The moment he left, the water giant appeared in his original position, and a huge ice cone emerged, freezing the surroundings. "Space law," Qin Hao said, looking at the water giant. In the previous situation, Qin Hao had sensed a ripple of space, similar to 10,000 thread stream. As a relatively widespread space law secret technique, 10,000 thread stream represented a cultivation method for the teleportation aspect of space law. I truly didn't expect to see space law. Qin Hao was still very pleasantly surprised. Space law, as a higher laws, is very difficult to comprehend. Qin Hao's main body has only touched upon it a little and has not fully crossed the threshold of space law. His first clone was only able to touch the threshold of space law by relying on his 1,000-fold genes, and the super talent he acquired from absorbing Kong Xuan's blood during the transformation process. This was also one of his trump cards, which he hadn't intended to use, but now he had actually seen it on a water giant. Things are getting more interesting. Qin Hao's lips curved slightly. Then, I won't waste any more time. Let me take a good look at what the Cloud Top World Master has left behind here. With that, figures appeared around Qin Hao. Hundreds of Qin Haos emerged, simultaneously attacking the water giant. Water dragons roar. Hundreds of water dragons appeared and quickly merged into a gigantic dragon tens of thousands of meters long, coiling around the water giant, instantly crushing it into seawater that integrated back into the ocean. Having successfully dealt with the water giant, Qin Hao continued forward, stepping onto the land where the White Palace was located. What was called land was actually a massive block of ice. The ice block was covered in white snow, and there were also many ice and snow sculptures of plants and animals around. A path made entirely of ice blocks led directly to the distant palace. As he stepped onto the path, Qin Hao felt a chill, and his body involuntarily shivered. As he got closer to the palace, the cold intensified. Qin Hao couldn't help but release his genetic primal energy to alleviate the cold on his body. As he continued along the path, the surroundings grew colder and colder, and the chill almost solidified. Relying solely on genetic primal energy was no longer enough to alleviate the cold on his body. Qin Hao also released his water domain, and at the same time, the power of water law was integrated into the domain. Originally, Qin Hao wanted to use the fire domain, but the powerful water elemental energy and water law in the surroundings suppressed all other 5 elements laws except for the water domain and law. Step by step, he advanced towards the palace, and its appearance gradually became fully visible to Qin Hao. The entire palace was immense, standing over 1,000 miles tall, and its main gate reached a height of tens of thousands of meters. The gate was covered in complex patterns, forming an extremely intricate design. It resembled a monstrous beast, yet also a warrior in battle, giving one the feeling that it contained mysterious power. Every single pattern seemed to be emitting a strange energy, the aura of water law and space law. Feeling the patterns on the gate, Qin Hao sensed the clear power of laws within them. I wonder which major force the Cloud Top World Master was a core member of to have left behind such a palace. Although the patterns on the palace were very complex, Qin Hao already had some conjectures about them. He placed his hands on the gate, mobilizing all his strength. The power of water law and space law flowed through his hands into the arcane script on the gate. The patterns on the gate began to glow. When the patterns on the gate were fully lit, Qin Hao felt the resistance disappear, and the gate began to move, being pushed open little by little. The gate swung open, and Qin Hao flashed into the palace. Inside the 1,000-mile-long palace was a vast plaza, surrounded by 64 massive ice slabs made of frozen ice. Each ice slab was carved with mysterious patterns, more complex than those on the gate, and the aura of laws within them was even more concentrated. In the center of the plaza, surrounded by the 64 ice slabs, stood a colossal stone pillar. The pillar was also inscribed with intricate patterns that extended to the ground, connecting with the 64 ice slabs. Chapter 74 Beast God Chapter 74 Beast God Secret Pattern Diagram. Qin Hao carefully observed the complex patterns in the main hall, his heart constantly making guesses. As a cultivation path in Swallowed Star, the secret pattern diagram was also very mysterious. For it to appear on a world lord was clearly somewhat unlikely. Furthermore, from the patterns, Qin Hao could sense the rich aura of water law and space law, but it was far from complete. Then what exactly could this be? Qin Hao carefully observed the situation in the main hall, hoping to find some clues. After all, the entire world exuded a strange feeling, a world almost entirely formed by water law. The complex patterns on the diagrams and the water giants encountered on the path. Clearly, this was a world of inheritance, a world of water space law inheritance. Moreover, having been in the world for so long without encountering any intelligent life, it was clear that this place was likely not created by the Cloud Top World Master, but rather an inheritance he had acquired. What kind of inheritance is it, exactly? After surveying the 64 diagrams, Qin Hao turned his attention to the central ice pillar. His finger gently brushed the patterns on the ice pillar, and Qin Hao's gene primary energy was involuntarily mobilized. The power of water law and space law, he had comprehended, also merged into the ice pillar with his finger. As this power merged, the patterns on the ice pillar began to light up, the light continuously spreading, following the patterns on the ice pillar and the ice surface to converge into the patterns on the first ice panel. The patterns on the ice panel began to constantly change, the chaotic patterns continuously converging to form dozens of scales, each with strange patterns on it. Fusion of water law and space law. Seeing the patterns on the scales, Qin Hao carefully observed them for a long time before confirming that it was the fusion of water law and space law. How could fusion laws appear? This is definitely not something a world lord rank inheritance could possess. Qin Hao carefully perceived each pattern on the scales, noting the effect of the water law and space law fusion within them. A portion of the water law and space law on these patterns was precisely Qin Hao's current comprehension of water law and space law, and now they were actually fused together on this ice panel. However, even with the effect and result of fusion, it would still take Qin Hao a very long time to fully comprehend it. After all, the process from learning 1 + 1 = 2 to proving 1 + 1 = 2 is extremely long. Nevertheless, it was fortunate that Qin Hao now had a direction for fusion laws, and the path became clearer. These scales, could they be the scales of the water beast god? Qin Hao quickly came up with a guess. After all, only the water beast god could perfectly present fusion laws. I wonder to what extent the water space law is fused in this inheritance, and who exactly created such a world, such a palace. Qin Hao thought, placing his gaze on the scales on the ice panel, and began to comprehend each pattern on them. 7 days passed in a flash, and Qin Hao awoke from his comprehension, his gene primary energy almost exhausted. While recovering his gene primary energy, Qin Hao began to explore the entire palace. The difficulty of fusion laws is indeed extraordinary, however. Both water law and space law have improved significantly. I wonder if this palace can be taken away. The inheritance of water-space law fusion was something Qin Hao would definitely not miss. However, it was unrealistic to stay in this world indefinitely. So the simplest solution would be to take the entire world, or at least this palace, with him. However, after circling the entire palace, Qin Hao did not discover the world's core. This world was neither a world ring nor a world lord world, but an independent inheritance world. How could it not be taken away? How did the Cloud Top World Master take this inheritance world away back then? Qin Hao walked out of the palace, surveying the entire world. The vast clouds, the expansive cloud continent, the boundless ocean, the size of this world was also not something a world lord could take away. Leaving the palace, Qin Hao continuously searched throughout the entire world. The sky, the sea surface, the seabed, the cloud continent. It was very empty, with almost no unusual places. Impossible. Qin Hao returned to the palace once again, looking at the palace, the path he had taken to arrive, the distant ocean, and the stone tablet engraved with cloud-top sky. Stone tablet. How could I have forgotten about this stone tablet? Qin Hao swiftly rushed towards the stone tablet, quickly arriving before it. Touching the stone tablet, his Jin primary energy continuously merged into the stone tablet, but it was like a stone sinking into the sea. The stone tablet showed no change. It's not Jin primary energy, then it should be mental power or soul power. Qin Hao thought and immediately began to act, releasing his mental power and merging it into the stone tablet. Although he was not a psyker master, everyone possessed mental power, just with varying strengths. Still no effect, then I can only use soul power. The power of his soul flowed into the stone tablet through Qin Hao's hand. As the soul power merged, Qin Hao felt as if a solid glass wall appeared before him, and inside the glass wall was a blue water droplet. This water droplet should be the control center of the entire cloud-top world. Seeing hope, Qin Hao fully mobilized the power of his soul, and the vast soul power transformed into a huge ice cone, crashing directly into the glass wall. Although it was a clone, Qin Hao's clone itself was created by the One Kai transforms into three Pure One's divine ability, inherently unique in its soul. Its vast soul power was even stronger than that of a domain lord. The moment the ice cone formed by soul power collided with the glass wall, a white spot appeared on the glass wall, but it did not immediately shatter. Seeing the effect, Qin Hao began to collide with it repeatedly, and the glass wall began to crack, and the cracks continuously spread. During the continuous collisions, Qin Hao's soul power was also rapidly depleting, and each collision was a test of his will. However, Qin Hao did not stop or rest, but continuously mobilized the power of his soul, clashing head-on with the glass wall. After countless collisions, the glass wall finally shattered. Qin Hao's soul power rapidly spread, merging into the water droplet. As it merged into the water droplet, Qin Hao felt a refreshing coolness in his soul. This coolness instantly spread throughout his entire soul along with his soul power. The water droplet also flew out from the stone tablet space and merged into Qin Hao's soul. At the same time, in the depths of the endless starry sky, in an unknown secret realm, a great figure opened his eyes. I didn't expect that only 10 epochs have passed, and someone has obtained the inheritance again. I wonder this time. The giant figure murmured a few words, then closed his eyes again, and the surroundings returned to peace. Chapter 75, Dragon Star, Chapter 75. Dragon Planet. Feeling the drop of water merge into his soul, Qin Hao felt a connection with the cloud-top heavenly palace, as if he could control the entire world of the cloud-top heavenly palace. However, he also knew that this was just an illusion. The refinement of the water drop allowed him to control this world to a certain extent and take it away. Truly wanting to change this world was far beyond what his current strength could achieve. Communicating with the water drop, Qin Hao's figure reappeared in the lake of the cloud-top world, and the cloud-top heavenly palace also transformed into a drop of water, which Qin Hao collected into his world ring. Master, Caesar and the other two were already waiting on the shore. Seeing Qin Hao, they respectfully bowed. "Do not resist," Qin Hao said directly to the three of them. After speaking, he collected all three into his world ring. I wonder how long it will take for the fastest person to complete this assessment. Outside Cloud Top Star, several staff members of the Universe Mercenary Alliance gathered together, bored and passing the time. The space pirates are generally not strong, but the mist in the Cloud Top world is a bit strange. It will take a lot of time to find the space pirates. It's estimated that someone will complete the assessment by the end of the month. Let's just wait slowly. Anyway, we don't need to do anything. When the time comes, we'll just pull everyone out. That's right, as long as no major problems occur, everything will be fine. Mercenary assessments are inherently full of unknowns and dangers. This is already the simplest one. If they can't even pass this, they don't have the qualifications to become a universe mercenary. Someone's coming out. How is that possible? Only 10 days have passed. There is indeed someone. Scan the identity of the person. Beep, identity confirmed. Qin Hao, probationary mercenary assessment member. After exiting the Cloud Top Heavenly Palace, Qin Hao flew quickly towards the entrance of the Cloud Top world. Along the way, he did not encounter any other space pirates or assessment members. After successfully leaving the Cloud Top world, Qin Hao shot straight up, left Cloud Top Star, and arrived at the Universe Mercenary Alliance's spaceship. Open the hatch. I didn't expect the first one to finish to be an astral rank first tier. That's not simple. I wonder which power cultivated such a genius. The staff member in charge of the assessment opened the spaceship's hatch. Qin Hao came to the spaceship, stepped inside, and handed a light brain to the staff member. Information confirming. Assessment task completed. Congratulations on becoming a probationary mercenary of the Universe Mercenary Alliance. You will wait on the spaceship until the assessment ends. The assessment staff member said, leading Qin Hao to a room. This is your room. After speaking, the staff member left. Looking at the room in front of him, it was very simple and not large, with just a bed and a table. However, it was much better than when he arrived. When he arrived, let alone a room, it felt completely like a green-skinned train, with everyone in one huge cabin. The difference in treatment before and after the assessment could be said to be worlds apart. 1 month later, the Universe Probationary Mercenary Assessment ended. Only a minority completed the assessment. Most did not complete the 1 million bounty mission even at the last moment. After all, killing and defeating are two different things. All being astral rank, with not much difference in strength, if they couldn't quickly kill, it was difficult to stop those space pirates who were solely focused on escaping. The mist in the world was a natural protection. As long as they caught them off guard, created distance, and relied on familiar terrain, escaping was not difficult. After returning to Black Dragon Mountain Administrative Star, Qin Hao did not continue to participate in other missions. Instead, he purchased a manor on Black Dragon Mountain Administrative Star and began a new round of secluded cultivation. It was fortunate that Qin Hao became a probationary mercenary of the Universe Mercenary Alliance. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have the qualification to buy real estate. After purchasing the property, he arranged for Caesar and the other two to handle daily affairs in the manor. Qin Hao then directly entered his world ring, connected to the Cloud Top Heavenly Palace, entered it, and began comprehending water law and space law. Earth Qin Hao's main body finished a day of cultivation and emerged from his world ring. In the past few months, while his first clone entered the universe, Qin Hao also entered a state of cultivation. However, unlike his previous long periods of arduous cultivation, during this period, Qin Hao was more free-spirited in his cultivation. Besides regular cultivation each year, he spent more time traveling around various cities and regions globally. He integrated himself into the crowd, experiencing the life of an ordinary person. At the same time, he watched the global recovery and construction step by step, and the changes in the entire world. Since the time of the golden-horned beast, the monsters on the global land had been completely cleared, and various countries began restorative construction. The original cities and towns gradually recovered, rivers and mountains were gradually remanaged, and the planting of crops like wheat and rice fields gradually expanded. The peaceful scene from before the Great Nirvana had returned, and various base cities gradually opened up, with people beginning to flow back to various towns and cities. Besides traveling alone, Qin Hao also took his younger sister Qin Ying, or his parents, on family outings. In a few months, they left their footprints in many places around the world. Brother, brother, come quickly and look. This butterfly is so beautiful. On the grass, Qin Ying chased a butterfly while shouting to Qin Hao, run slower. Qin Hao shouted to Qin Ying, while also taking quick steps towards her. Just as Qin Hao and Qin Ying were playing, a figure walked in through the door. Oh, Luo Feng, your clone has been nurtured. Qin Hao saw Luo Feng and couldn't help but tease. It's faster than I imagined. Just in time for the baby's birth. I just went with Zhu Xin for a checkup. The baby will be born this month. Luo Feng scratched his head, saying a bit shyly, "What brings you here this time? Aren't you at home properly accompanying your wife?" Qin Hao was a bit surprised by Luo Feng's arrival, but even more curious about his purpose. He had just nurtured his clone and had been separated from Zhu Xin for several months. "I want to borrow a spaceship from you to go to the universe in a few months." Luo Feng hesitated for a while before stating his purpose. Originally, he hadn't thought of coming to Qin Hao, but Babata's pestering became unbearable, so he had no choice but to come. "Didn't you and Babata find a spaceship in Ruin Hash 12? Although he knew the situation, Qin Hao still asked teasingly. There was a problem. The spaceship was damaged and repairs would take over a year. Luo Feng was also quite speechless about this situation. Babata confidently tried to control the spaceship, but it triggered the spaceship's self-destruct system. Although they managed to stop it eventually, the spaceship was still significantly damaged. "All right, let's go together then. I'm also planning to go and see the universe, and take the opportunity to buy some resources." Qin Hao no longer teased Luo Feng and agreed. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio.